O'clock, the Marc Cox Morning Show minus the Marc Cox. He's got such a stressful day today, he just decided he needed the morning off. So you get Dan Buck, Kim St. Ange, and Ethan Brighter here, so they'll keep the ship going in the right direction, thank goodness. You know, people think this is like riding a bike, like showing up and doing a radio show. Oh, you've done it for years. It's not.
I know.
It's like just the alarm clock alone is like such an adjustment. Mm-hmm. Because I was out playing baseball till 10:30 last night. I got home at like 11, and I'm like, oh, crap, I got to be up in 4 hours.
I know, you played that game. I was up till, I think I went to bed just after 10. We had the annual Missouri Right to Life banquet, the dinner last night.
How'd that go? Was it good?
It was fantastic. Riley Gaines was the keynote speaker. Got a chance to meet her. And
she's awesome.
She was great. And, you know, we all know her story with swimming and Leah Thomas or whatever. Will Thomas is his actual name. But she kind of shared more details I didn't realize. So that was very interesting, and just talked about how that relates to the pro-life movement and just this war that they have on women and the preborn, and what we need to do to push back against that. So Steve Rupp, president of Missouri Right to Life, he just puts on Pam Victor. I mean, they just put on a great event every year. So
yeah. Well, and Riley Gaines, I would call her like the modern day conservative feminist. You know what I mean? She is such an advocate, such a great fighter for women, specifically young athletic women who are seeing their spaces being invaded by the transgender world. But her platform has grown so much. I mean, I see a huge future for her in politics. I really do. I think she can do so much as an advocate, but she could do so much more as a governor or as a leader in Congress. She's articulate. She's smart. She's passionate. I would have loved to have seen her speech. What was the focus of her kind of message beyond the women's rights side? Well,
I mean, she talked a lot about what happened with the medal being taken from her when she tied. So that was kind of, I would say, a lot of the focus of it. But then she just talked about how, I mean, they're kind of going after women and they're trying to change the narrative, and it's just. She goes, don't be complacent. Don't think that because you live in a conservative state here in Missouri, you have conservative leaders who, for example, are pro-life. Don't act like you're going to be safe. And obviously, we have ridiculous laws in place right now that we're trying to get
a constitutional amendment that is one of the most liberal in America they got through on us.
But she's like, don't get too relaxed. Basically, was her message.
Yeah, that's great. Well, she is. I admire her. She had a post up last week. I follow her on Twitter. And she had a great post about Jordy Ball, the softball pitcher and shortstop and great hitter for the University of Nebraska, #1 ranked team in the country. And she just praised her for when she got married. She married her college sweetheart, and he was a baseball player, and she took his last name. Mm-hmm. Well, everyone knows Jordy Ball. In fact, I can't even at this point remember her new married name. But she's playing 100% under her married name.
Wow.
And gave up her old name. And so, but everybody knows Jordy. It's one of those names where you're like, okay, and you talk about softball world, and I'm a huge fast pitch. My daughter played in college and still coaches. And I'm just like a huge fan of this girl. So if you don't know the Jordy Ball story, she went to Oklahoma, won a national title for Oklahoma as a freshman and as a sophomore, won 2 back-to-back national championships. For her junior year, she leaves the #1 softball program in the country to go home to her home state of Nebraska, who had no softball program to speak of, not a highly respectable one. I shouldn't knock them, but they were always kind of middle of the pack in the Big Ten, not a huge powerhouse. She makes them puts them right in the top 10 immediately because she's such a dominant, great pitcher. And she said, I want to go back to the state I grew up in and help grow the sport and help bring girls.
That's cool.
And right now, the Nebraska Cornhuskers are ranked #1 in the country. They're one of the top seeds in the super regionals, which come up this weekend. And she's just a great story by herself and very conservative in a world that's kind of full of, left-leaning, LGBTQ, high pressure, and she is 100% a lady and loves the sport and is bringing just a great example to young girls in the game of softball.
Now that you say her name, I think there was some woman who had worked in Nebraska and is now helping out here, and she talked about the strategy and what they were able to do, and she talked about using college athletes who were very successful as part of that, and it was Jordy Ball. It had to be.
Yes.
And that she showed up to this shoot and she brought a bunch of her friends who were also college athletes and would have had a recognizable face or name, and that it clearly was successful. So it's very ironic that you just said that.
Yeah,
because I had never heard of that name or seen her, and it had to be her last night.
And Riley had gone on her ex account just to praise her and thank her for being a lady, and when she got married, because I don't think she's using her non-married name in public still. She's still Riley Gaines, and she's married, right?
Yeah.
So
in fact, her husband and her daughter Margot were there last night.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah, that's very cool. Hey, we're right up against the national anthem. At first, we got to do the Marc Cox shortlist. Here we go.
The Marc Cox shortlist, presented by Rhino Shield.
I know that the mayor has no plan. He has come up with no plan at all about how the Bears would end up in the city of Chicago, so that's problematic. I'd love them to be in the city, but we're 3 years in now, and he still has no plan.
Oh, the Democratic finger pointing is going. That, of course, is Krispy Kreme Pritzker. He is torching Chicago Mayor Brandon Johnson for letting the Chicago Bears not just leave Chicago and potentially go to like Arlington Heights. No, they're probably going to Indiana.
We are fighting to show that Democrats and people who believe in democracy can fight back against an authoritarian regime that is doing everything in its power to create harm and chaos.
There we go again. There's that authoritarian regime. That's all the Democrats got. That, of course, is Stacey Abrams, the former Georgia state representative, the failed run for governor, and somehow she's still around spewing the talking points of the Democratic Party.
I guess that's going to be up to the courts. I mean, every case is going to be done individually. I will say, people coming in the Capitol like they did was a challenging time for us. But again, people who are incorrectly and weaponized or attacked by the federal government do need compensation.
Amen. That's Representative Greg Murphy talking about whether the Pardon J6ers should be eligible for some of that anti-weaponization fund. And for many, many of them who were wrongly accused, held much longer than they should have been held for simple misdemeanor charges, absolutely they should be compensated.
Look, I have nothing personal against Thomas Massey, but he votes with the Democrats most of the time and has been a thorn in my side for a long time. So, politics isn't personal up here. We need team players.
Yeah, that's right. No tears from Speaker Mike Johnson regarding Massey losing in Kentucky by quite a bit, too. What did he lose by, like 8 or 9?
I think it was almost double digits. And he was, third?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
a distant third.
Yes, I actually love it. I mean, you want to be a thorn in the president's side, you're going to pay the consequences. And not just a thorn in his side. I like fiscal conservatives. I like guys who, see the fraud, see the waste, see the misspending. And Massey was a fiscal hawk. I would give him that. But the times your party needed you to help you get things over, even if it was a CR, even if it was, something just to keep government operating, and him to still side with the Democrats and know that they were just simply going to try to block something, and for him to not stay the party line at times drove me crazy. Yeah, I'm like, pick your battles, pick your timing, and some of his timing was terrible.
I don't have a problem with someone calling out a president, and I'm not just talking about Donald Trump. I'm talking about any president, because I think it's a problem when you are not even willing to call out your own party on certain things, because we're all human. We're all going to make mistakes and maybe do things that aren't truly the best direction we should be going. But if you're consistently, as you just heard Speaker Johnson say, voting with the Democrats and not showing up when the Republican Party, when the conservatives who put you into office need you to show up for them, that's a problem.
Absolutely. Well, we're going to dive more into that in the next section, too. I want to really talk more about that Chicago Bears issue. This is more than a political volleyball among the Democratic Party. This is a microcosm, although it's a major issue, of what's going to happen to cities like Chicago and New York and Seattle when these liberal policies and these enormous taxation issues start to hit these bigger companies. And trust me, the Chicago Bears are a very big company and a huge revenue driver, not just to Chicago, but the whole state of Illinois. Why would they consider moving to Indiana? We're going to talk about it after the break. Right here's the national anthem to get you started on your Thursday morning.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hail at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we've watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Traffic from the 97.1 FM Talk Traffic Center.
Good morning to you. We look fine on the roads at this hour and really no weather issues of which to speak. We look good from North County down into Jeffco. I do want to mention on I-70 today, starting at 8 o'clock this morning, and this will run until 3:30 this afternoon. Crews will close one westbound lane on the Stan Musial Veterans Memorial Bridge. So they'll do that in the midday hours. Hopefully it won't affect anybody. But if you drive that bridge, at least you'll know. This report is brought to you by McKelvey Homes. I'm Sue Thomas with traffic on 97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis Conservative.
McKelvey Homes is breaking ground on something new in O'Fallon, Strawberry Farms. When McKelvey builds something, they do it right. Visit McKelvey Homes to schedule a tour at Strawberry Farms in O'Fallon. Visit McKelveyHomes.com today and move up to McKelvey.
Well, how does 4 years interest-free financing sound? 48 months interest-free financing with my friends at Chesterfield Fence and Deck. All you got to do is name drop a little bit. Just mention my name when you call over there. Tell them, hey, heard Marc Cox bragging about you. Want you to come out and give me an estimate. Give me free project design. I hear him mention that all the time. Or let me look at that iPad where you've got that whole folder of digital photos of the beautiful jobs you've done all over the greater St. Louis area since 1968. They've been at this a long time. So if you don't have the right idea for your backyard, there's a good chance they've done it before somewhere else, and maybe you'll see exactly the right thing for you. Whatever strikes your eye, they can design it, they can build it, whether it's a pergola or it's a new patio with a chimney out there where you can enjoy drinks into the fall and the spring and all year round. Go to ChesterfieldFence.com.
Annie Fry here. If you're nearing retirement or already retired, call my friends Thomas Helbig and Bob Kershaw with the Retirement Advisory Group. They'll show you how linking to the market is much safer than owning the market for your retirement savings. They are the official financial advisors of my show. Go to retirementkey.com.
Tony LaRussa here. Men, are you running out of stamina rounding third base? If so, call my friends at Victory Men's Health in O'Fallon, Illinois. Scoring at home is important, just as important as crossing the plate with the winning run. VictoryMen'sHealth.com.
License number GL250000615.
Hey, Dad, what causes drains to clog?
Grease, hair, soap scum, and tree roots.
Tree roots?
This town has old pipes and big trees. They find each other.
They grow inside pipes?
They bust into pipes.
Whoa.
Once they're in, the water stops flowing.
Can we fix it?
The big green grasser machine can fix any clog.
Green is always grasser at GrasserHomeservices.com.
The time now is 5:20. This time check is brought to you by Paramount Men's Medical Center. Coming up, 5:37, we've got Kim on a Whim.
You're back with Marc Cox and Kim St. Onge. The Marc Cox Morning Show, 97.1 FM Talk.
So we just played a little clip before the break, before the anthem, from the governor of Illinois, J.D. Pritzker. I call him Krispy Kreme Pritzker. He goes after the mayor of Chicago, Brandon Johnson. What he fails to address and does not even bring up in any of his comments is that for 4 years, the Chicago Bears have been trying to get some traction in Springfield to get support around a new dome, a new stadium, and they got nowhere. I mean, nowhere. So if Pritzker wants to point any fingers, it needs to be right back at himself and that at his own Democratic lawmakers in Springfield who have done absolutely zero up until about 2 weeks ago when they finally did pass this mega project bill that could be literally $1 billion towards the project, but there's still a lot of loopholes. Still hasn't gone through the Senate. It was only a House bill that was introduced. The Senate is where they're going to get a lot more pushback because why? The state of Illinois is broke, okay? They don't have billions of dollars to give to a football team.
But they have so much in tax dollars, Dan.
Well,
don't you remember?
Yeah, but all their major tax people are leaving the state. All their big
they
corporations.
misspend it.
When you look
Yeah.
at the list of like the companies who have bailed on the state of Illinois, it's massive.
I believe that.
Yeah, and where are they going? Indiana. Indiana has put a whole great campaign together, and they're the ones who put a package together, got it through their legislature. And I think they're going to be moving.
Really?
I do. I think they're going to move to the southern tip of the Lake Michigan. It's a beautiful site. It's got lake views. I mean, and Chicagoans, heck, they don't think twice about driving 30, 35 minutes to go anywhere. And that's what it would be to get down there where there's less traffic. You're not fighting some of the rush hour traffic getting in and out of Chicago. You ever been to a Soldier Field game? It's a
not that I can think of.
It's a nightmare. Number one,
I bet, yeah.
The number one smallest stadium in the NFL has been for, I think, 2 decades. Just don't get a lot of bodies into the seats, which limits their revenue potential.
Yeah.
And it's just a nightmare getting in and out of their very restricted parking. In fact, you're shuttling people in from parking lots that are 1.5 miles, 2 miles away. It's a nightmare experience going into downtown Chicago, even on a Sunday morning, to try to go to a Bears game. And so what they're proposing, by the way, if you're wondering, Arlington Heights had given I guess a green light and some subsidy when the Bears purchased the old raceway down in Arlington Heights. There was a NASCAR raceway that had gone defunct, and they stole it. But get this. They bought the entire property, I think, I'm trying to find the year they bought it. I think it was 2022. But they're paying $1.8 million on an empty racetrack in property taxes.
Wow. In property taxes.
Just property
my
taxes.
Gosh.
And they're like, hey, can we get a reprieve here while we're trying to decide whether we're going to put that? No. State says, no, you got to pay your bills. You got to pay your property tax. And the local town wouldn't even give them any type of a tax break. They bought a defunct racetrack that nobody was paying any taxes on. It was, and it's like, you should be thanking the Bears for even considering your community. So I think the Bears are just done. They're done with Illinois politics. They're fighting right now at the state level to just get $1 billion passed. And I say only $1 billion. This dome is projected to be somewhere between $3 and $5 billion structure. And they're willing to pick up the bulk of the tab, but they want infrastructure support. I think they wanted a $900 million, which let's round it to $1 billion from the state and local government. So between the city of Chicago, well, just keep in mind, the city of Chicago has spent over $1 billion on illegal immigrants in the past 3 years.
Yeah.
Right? So for them to say we don't have any money to keep our Bears here, but we're okay spending $1 billion on a bunch of illegals and being a sanctuary city for illegals, that would hack me off if I was a Chicagoan and if I was a Bears fan. It's like, really, we can waste money, and it is wasted. You're never getting any payback or money back from all of the incentives and the freebies that you're given to all of these illegals. Meanwhile, their homelessness is up. People in Chicago are angry. If you look at some of the city council meetings that are going on in Chicago, they'll get 30, 40 minutes of testimony at every one of those council meetings from people saying, don't vote blue, vote red, throw these people out. Everybody on this dais needs to go. And there's some outspoken, all African-American speakers who come to this. There's something going on in the Chicago works that they're losing control. And you lose the Bears, now you lose a whole sector of voters who are going to be angry.
You've lost the whole state, because if you look at the outskirts of Chicago, it's obviously deep red, and then you have this one little bubble, a big bubble of Chicago. But that's having such an impact on the state, the politics, I mean, everything, which is crazy. I'm just trying to think about what the deal was with the Kansas City Chiefs, because obviously that was rejected. You know, the legislature passed that, tried to get him to stay, thought it would be enough, and it clearly wasn't. So they're going, a half an hour or so, I guess 30 miles or so to Kansas.
Yeah. And again, out to a flourishing, thriving area out by the raceway where there's a lot going on. They've got a huge economic development out there in Johnson County, Kansas. That's what Missouri was competing against. I
didn't think they would do it. They did. So, yeah, I mean, to your point, maybe the Bears are saying, all right, here's what we're wanting. You're not willing to do it. We're done. We're out. We're going to Nebraska.
And the Bears
you said Indiana. I'm sorry.
Yeah, Indiana.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they're not apologizing. They're not, and nor should they. They're a company and they're a business that doesn't want to be taxed to the nose. Their stadium, by the way, you know what their taxes would be on their new stadium when they build it? This will blow your mind.
Oh gosh, what?
$180 million a year if they stay in Illinois. The taxes annually on that new stadium would be $180 million they'd have to pay.
I wonder what that would be comparable in Indiana.
It's like a third in Indiana for the same thing. So it's like you can get the same stadium, pay a third less in taxes. So you're only paying $40 or $50 million versus $180 million.
And maybe get more butts in the seats.
Yeah. Oh, way more. Yeah. And I don't think you're going to offend Bears fans. They'll go anywhere. They're loyal. They'll be there. It's 5:28. Dan Buck sitting in for Marc Cox, who's just having a play day. I don't think he's doing anything important. He's just enjoying life. We'll be back with more of the Marc Cox Morning Show after this.
Bringing a data center online takes more than equipment. It takes precision. Graybar helps customers predict, stage, schedule, deliver, and verify every step of the build with critical products that are available now. From networking and wireless to critical power and testing tools, our teams help you reduce downtime risk and keep projects on track. Speed, scale, ready now. Yep, Graybar does that.
As parents, we measure our child's life in firsts. First steps, first words. But for me, the most important was my son's first breath. Because of Cardinal Glennon Children's Hospital, that moment led to so many more. His first laugh, first birthday, the first time he said, "I love you, Mama." Make your pledge for patients today at homersforhealth.org to benefit the devoted fund. Your gift helps build a place where more childhood firsts are possible.
Attention. Have you racked up $10,000 or more in credit card debt? Are you barely getting by making minimum payments? With credit card debt reaching all-time highs, National Debt Relief is notifying consumers about significant debt relief options currently being made available to help those with overwhelming credit card debt. These options may reduce a large portion of credit card debt for those who qualify. You don't need to declare bankruptcy or take out a consolidation loan, and you may only have to pay back a fraction of what you owe, even if you have bad credit. National Debt Relief has already reduced the credit card debt for more than 550,000 consumers, so don't wait. If you owe $10,000, $20,000, or even $100,000 in credit card debt, you can now take advantage of this financial debt relief as the cost of living continues to skyrocket. To check what debt reduction you may qualify for, call 800-894-7722. That's 800-894-7722. Again, 800-894-7722.
I'm Stuart Varney, and this is the Fox Business Report.
Walmart reports earnings today. Investors are looking for signs of how it's holding up, with shoppers facing higher energy costs. Jason Katz, UBS Senior Portfolio Manager, says higher income consumers are holding up. However,
the lower end consumer, however, is contending with those higher gas prices, with elevated interest rates, and with stimulus at some point wearing off from the one big beautiful bill. So the consumer really, which accounts for the vast majority of our economy, must hang in there. And we think that they will. The labor market is hanging in there, but we're starting to see some cracks.
Also reporting earnings today, Deere, Ross Stores, Workday, and Zoom Communications. Housing starts and building permits for April are released, and the number of new claims for unemployment benefits filed last week. That's your Fox Business Report. I'm Jenny Coselda. Invested in you.
Most investments today feel like second jobs. Real estate, you're a landlord. Stocks, you're a day trader. Crypto, you're a full-time researcher. You've got a life to live. Your investment should help you live it. That's why more Americans are choosing gold. Noble Gold has helped thousands protect their future with real physical gold. Visit noblegoldinvestments.com to get your free wealth protection kit. That's noblegoldinvestments.com. Past performance may not be indicative of future results. Investing in precious metals, including gold, involves risks. Consult with your tax attorney or financial professional before making an investment.
Traffic from the 97.1 FM Talk Traffic Center.
We look good this morning, at least at this hour, on the roads. Quiet through North County. Really no delays yet. Eastbound 70, 64, 40, or 44 from out west into downtown. Tonight on 64, 8 p.m. until 5:30 a.m. tomorrow, they'll close one eastbound lane between I-70 and K. And 8 p.m. until 9 a.m., and that starts tonight. They'll close a westbound lane between K and I-70. A lot of road work going on. I'm Sue Thomas with traffic on 97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis Conservative.
Sponsored by Gloria Lou, with your home sold guaranteed realty, 314-325-6888.
Need to sell your home and you want the most money? The name to remember is Gloria Lou. Yes, Gloria Lou, with your home sold guaranteed realty at 314-325-6888 and start packing.
Yes, we did get an extreme amount of water. They had flash flooding in some areas. I hope and pray that did not affect you or your loved ones. But if you end up with water in the basement regularly, you have a different problem. That means the soil around your house is retaining that water. It's not draining off, and it is putting extreme pressure on the walls of your basement. And somewhere, the settlement has caused a crack, and of course, the water's getting into the basement. You need to stop that. It can ruin your belongings. It can, of course, if you have a finished basement, it's a nightmare. You need to get it taken care of in a hurry. Call Matt Hayes at Home Shield Foundation Repairs, 314-271-9900. That's 314-271-9900. They're going to help you with crack repair, sump pump issues, structural crack repair, and they give you a lifetime warranty. Go online today. Tell Matt I sent you. HomeshieldFoundationRepairs.com.
Men, if you're suffering from erectile dysfunction or PE, you're not alone. Most importantly, you don't have to live with it. Paramount Men's Medical Center restores men's sex lives in just one visit. Their painless breakthrough treatments eliminate ED and PE, even when Viagra and Cialis don't work. Here's Dr. Simovitz, specialist in men's health.
Paramount Men's Medical Center's painless breakthrough treatments eliminate ED and PE, regardless of age or medical history. 98% of patients see instant results right in the office.
Men are now lasting longer than they ever imagined. And the best part, at Paramount Men's Medical Center, your consultation and first treatment are free. Qualified patients even get their testosterone checked free. Call 314-887-4333. 314-887-4333. Take control of your sex life. Call now. 314-887-4333.
You know Zero Res, the zero residue carpet cleaner that leaves your carpets truly clean with no dirt attracting soaps or harsh chemicals. Marc Cox here. Don't risk it with the other guys because they're having a flash sale right now with Zero Res. You go to ZeroResSTL.com. You can get 3 rooms of carpet, zero resified, starting at just $139 with a free hallway. Call 314-474-2020. Ask for the 97.1 special.
Hi, this is Steve Butts from the Crawford Butts Insurance Agency. In 2026, our agency celebrates a momentous occasion as we celebrate 65 years of service to our clients, a tribute to our founder and my dad, Norm Butts. Our staff is ready to assist you with all your insurance needs. So please call me, Steve Butts, at 314-752-2500 or at CrawfordButts.com. For auto, home, and commercial insurance needs, that's CrawfordButts.com.
Built in the heartland, for the heartland. 97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis Conservative. Kim on a whim.
Listen to this statistic, and this might freak you out. 90% of what you see, well, maybe not freak you out, but blow your mind.
Okay.
90% of what you see on the internet is advertising in disguise.
90%. That does not surprise me at all.
Really? That number seems high
I'm
to me.
so done with like the pop-ups and even the content where you're reading it and you go, this is an ad.
So that's what it is. There's obvious ads where you can, they sometimes do hashtag ad if you're on social media, or you see a link and it's trying to reroute you and they strategically put it where you'd be clicking so that you accidentally click on it and have to go back, which is super annoying but effective, to their credit. But it's the stuff where, like, for example, a clip of a song that you think is just really, really popular and is going viral, and you think that this is, wow, this must be trending. It's going viral. People really like this. They're talking about this new artist. They must be really, really talented. It's actually an ad. That's really what I'm talking about here. Or a political candidate who you're seeing, and they're not trying to say, hey, vote for me. It's just a clip of them talking about something, and you think, oh, because of my algorithm, this is why I'm seeing it.
This is organic.
It's organic. But it's not. It's part of this company that has just shut down as of March of this year, but it was called Floodify.
Floodify, as in flood the internet.
Essentially, essentially that's what they were doing. So this person was this guy who started it was a failed rapper. And so what he did was he figured out code to be able to create this system where people could set up, I mean, you could have 15 different Instagram accounts, for example, Dan. So they're kind of dummy accounts. You're not really using them, right?
It's a human bot.
It's a human bot, right? And artists could, or political candidates could pay this company Floodify. They would come up with a short clip that they wanted pushed out. This company would then if you linked up your 15 Instagram accounts, it would automatically post it at peak times during the day. And every time you would post it, if you got a certain number of views or likes or whatever it was, you would get paid. So that's what the crazy part is this can generate a lot of false excitement. And again, people thinking that something is going viral, but that's not it. So this guy, Joe Lim, who started this company, at its peak, he was operating some 65,000 social media accounts to drum up attention on behalf of paying clients, one of whom was Justin Bieber.
About a new album or a new song or something that he was putting out, or what?
He was headlining 2 consecutive weekends at Coachella, which is a really big deal.
Yeah.
And I would assume that one of the ways they pick who they want to be the headliner is, well, who are people talking about on the internet? Well, it's now come out that he basically paid this company to push out a lot of his content. So it's artificially it's manipulated. It's not realistic. And so here's the funny part. So I go online, because this is kind of confusing. If you're a little confused trying to wrap your brain around this, I was too. So I'm like, you know what? I'll go to YouTube and I'll watch some videos to have this better explained to me. And this is the gist of pretty much every single video that I saw, and I watched a lot.
Okay.
Most social media platforms make you wait until you have thousands of followers or meet strict requirements before you can start earning. But with Floodify, it's different. You don't need to have followers and you don't have to wait for months to qualify. As long as you have a social media account, you can start posting and earning right away.
Okay. Now, do I know where she lives? No.
No.
Now, I did hear what
I
I
can tell
thought
you where
was.
she probably doesn't
yeah,
live.
I could also tell you that. I feel like I heard chanting or something in the background. Let me just tell you, there was maybe 1 out of 20 videos that I watched about this that the guy sounded American.
Yeah, they all have accents.
They're all foreign.
Yes.
So all these people who you think are watching these videos and loving them, and it's like, oh, clearly it's the kind of content that I like, and this person's so popular. It's a lie. It's a sham. It's all like, it's so hard to look at anything online now and believe it, because this is the kind of junk that's been pushed in our faces, and it's hard to know up from down. I mean, you just
sometimes I think
everything's manipulated.
And I don't know if politicians would use platforms like that, but
Apparently they were.
Were they?
Well, it's
I guess
I
for
don't
campaigns
know,
for
campaigns
sure. But I'm just saying, everyday stuff that pops up on my feed sometimes, and I'll see it has 100,000, 150,000, and tens of thousands of replies, but you start reading the responses and the replies, they sound automated. Like there's somebody promote, oh, this person is so wonderful, I love them. And I'm like, most people who like people don't go on and talk like that. In social circles, usually you only get feedback that's on the negative side. People who want to rail on something they see. But you'll see dozens of these like very generic, love this person, so proud that they're representing my area or something like that. And I'm just like, that's a bot. That is not actually fundamentally people going on there.
Oh, for sure.
But they've got this huge, what appears to be huge following. And I'm like, is that because they paid for so many, which then populated onto so many people's feeds like mine? Because I don't follow these people. They just show up on my feed. But I'm like, are they showing up on my feed because they know I'm a conservative and they know it's going to get my Irish up, and they know I'm going to probably, blast whatever this liberal comment is?
Yeah.
And it's like, well, they don't care if it's a negative comment or a positive comment. It's engagement, and I'm just feeding the beast, right?
Yep. Oh, I see that with companies all the time where you see a product and people are like, this product is the most amazing product, and you click on their profile and it looks all legitimate, and it's some bot.
Yep.
That's not how people act. I don't take my time generally. If I'm going to leave a review, I'm going to go to Google and leave the review. I generally don't just go comment on Facebook posts, random posts. So this is happening more and more. It's super annoying. Now, we were talking about politicians, and when I was looking into this, it claimed that New York City, the former New York City mayor Eric Adams, had used this in his campaign against Zohran Mamdani, that there were all these AI-generated avatars and bot accounts that were pushing out these videos to try to attack him.
Well, and the guy running for New York mayor, I'm drawing a blank on his name, the reality star who's...
Oh, you talking about L.A. Mayor Spencer Pratt?
I mean, L.A. Yeah, he's just getting so much social media. And I'm always wondering, is this guy's, little videos and vignettes that he is putting out there, are they really getting that many hits?
I know. You have to ask yourself.
You start doubting it. You're like, okay, it says it's got 800,000 views already. Are people really looking at that, or is he paying as part of his campaign to push that social media out there and getting a bunch of artificial hits in order to get on more people's? Because I don't follow him. I'm not following that race. I get his videos constantly on my feeds. Now, I usually will watch them because they're pretty funny.
They are good.
And entertaining. So I guess the longer I engage watching something, the more they're going to keep feeding that to me, right? I mean, the algorithm whole thing is just mind-blowing.
Well, and all the conservative people I follow tend to post his stuff, too. So that's how I see it. But now I'm starting to question, are they getting paid for it? I mean, you just
your friends.
No,
hey,
not my friends. I mean, like the conservative, like a Benny Johnson or someone like that, a conservative quote unquote influencer who is always posting this stuff. And I'm not saying he's officially getting paid for it. It's just, it starts to make you wonder when you see that there at least was a company that was doing this for so long, and these artists who, like for example, this guy was I said a failed rapper when he tried to start this, and he was able to be so incredibly successful. And but do you really feel good about that success? Can you really say you went viral or you got all these views? Like, on YouTube, they'll give people a certain plaque if you get a certain number of views or whatever. or subscribers.
Yeah.
Can you really feel good about that if you know that you paid to do it?
bought
It's like a
them?
dang
Yeah.
award that you get, and you get a participation award or something, and you feel good about that. Or a dude who's running in a women's race, and you take that and you feel good about that. Like, oh yeah, I really am the fastest. No, you're a man, bro. You're a dude. You don't belong with the women. Do you feel good about that? Are you proud of yourself when you put your head on your pillow at night? Like, man, I'm a good athlete. You are terrible. You're a loser. This is the kind of stuff. It's a joke. It's psychotic that we're even in this world right now where AI is taking over, and there's so many ways with coding to do things, and it's. Man, I mean, talk about people being, what's the word? I keep thinking delusion. What's the word I'm thinking of? That there's just going to be mass chaos.
Oh my gosh. And the good news, I guess, about this company you're referencing, what was it called again?
Floodify. Like Spotify, but Floodify.
Yeah, so Floodify, at least they were using humans who were actively going in. You know what I mean? It wasn't all bot-driven.
I think some of it was bot-driven, but yes, they were actually paying humans to have their accounts linked. But remember, they'd have 30. Some Indian dude I listened to a video was like, I have like 30 accounts. I'm like, okay.
Okay. Well, good segment. That's awesome. It's and it is mind-blowing how often you see really average content with hundreds of thousands of views. And I'm like, that can't be.
You aren't that good.
You aren't. I know. That
Yeah.
content is not that entertaining that you...
Yeah.
You know, one thing is happening on and I just noticed this like last week, I'm getting a ton of like movie clips. Like either old movies or sometimes they're even newer movies, and they give you like the most exciting action part. And there are tons of movies I've never seen, but they're pretty good little clips, and you get kind of sucked in.
Are they on streaming services? Is it trying to get like
that's what I was thinking. I'm like, who's putting these?
Yeah,
who's putting these out there? And is it somebody trying to get you to download? Because a couple of times I'm like, well, they don't even show what the movie was. But but you're like, God, that was a great scene, and I like those, and I like those actors. What movie was that?
Yeah.
So you got to do a little research on what it was, and I have actually done that where I've then downloaded the movie or gone out on Netflix looking for the movie because this clip showed up on my timeline.
Yeah.
Anyway, it's 5:47. It's Kim St. Ange, Dan Buck, as Marc Cox is having a play day today, and so we're in here taking over the show. I love it. All right, back with more in a minute.
Traffic from the 97.1 FM Talk Traffic Center.
Good morning. We still look good on the roads. And if you are on the Illinois side, it's nice and quiet at this hour. And we look good on the Missouri side as well. If you're driving from out west into downtown, we look good on 70, 64, 40, and 44. In Jeffco tonight, there will be some road work along 55. Shocker. But they're going to have one northbound lane closed from 67 to Route A, and they'll do that 7 o'clock tonight until 5 a.m. tomorrow, and hopefully have that open by the time the commute rolls around, and things should be fine. This report brought to you by i3 Broadband. Spring is here. Time to toss out the dusty treadmill and your laggy cable internet. Upgrade to 100% in-home fiber from i3 Broadband. They're springing forward with their longest price guarantees ever on their gig speed internet services. No data caps, just pure speed. Go to i3broadband.com/radio and start your spring off right. I'm Sue Thomas with traffic on 97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis Conservative.
Never miss a beat. Take 97.1 FM Talk with you. The voices you trust, Marc Cox, Annie Fry, Mark Reardon, Scott Jennings, and more are just a tap away with the Odyssey app. Stream 97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis Conservative.
Nothing makes a gathering great like Eggland's Best Eggs. They're just so delicious with better nutrition, too. For us, it's eggs any style, as long as they're the best. Eggland's Best. Better taste, better nutrition, better eggs.
The Cards, the Pirates. Siteman Cancer Center game time 12:15. Play ball. Siteman Cancer Center, national leader in cancer. The home of the Cardinals. 104.1 FM KMOX.
Is your home, business, or church looking tired, chalky, or in need of curb appeal? Go Rhino. Tired of painting year after year? Go Rhino. Our unique 3M ceramic technology is perfect for brick, stucco, aluminum, steel, color lock masonite, and more. It's backed by our 25-year transferable warranty to not chip, crack, or peel. Great if you're staying, and even better if you're selling. Our ceramic coating allows you to maintain all of your architectural features. The decision to do vinyl will leave your home looking like a plastic moldy box. With Rhino Shield, in 15 years, your home will still have that, wow, it looks like you just got it painted. We've done large condo complexes, parking garages, pole barns, and commercial strip malls. We coat sloped and flat roofs to extend their lives too. Evaluations are free. 877-25-RHINO or 877-25rhino.com. See what we did there? Genius. Tell them, ladies.
Don't paint, don't vinyl, go Rhino Shield. Never paint your house again. Rhino Shield.
If you're trying to sell your home, there's only one group of agents in town I trust, Mark and Neil Gelman of eXp Realty. My friends Mark and Neil have the best system, options, and strategies to connect you to the best qualified buyers, getting your home sold fast and for top dollar. Check out thegelmanteam.com.
I'm probably okay to have one more drink before I drive home. I'm probably okay. I open the window to stay alert. Probably okay. I just popped some gum in my mouth.
Step out of the car, please.
I probably made a mistake.
Probably okay isn't okay when it comes to drinking and driving. If you see a warning sign, stop and call a cab, a car, or a friend. Buzzed driving is drunk driving. A message brought to you by NHTSA and the Ad Council.
You're listening to the Marc Cox Morning Show. 97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis Conservative.
.551 on your Thursday morning. Dan Buck sitting in for Marc Cox. You got Kim, you got Ethan here. We were talking during the break about Jeff Bezos yesterday coming out and saying that the bottom 50% of Americans shouldn't have to pay any taxes. Well, here's news for you, that 40% of Americans don't pay any federal taxes. So then what do you say about the next 10%, right? Well, they only pay a total of 3%. Between the 40% and 50%, pay only 3% of the total taxes paid in America. So only 3% is being generated right now by the bottom 50%.
You want to hear? He has that clip. You want to hear clip 3? Yeah.
Oh my gosh!
Play
yeah.
Clip 3.
All right, here we go.
People talk about making the tax system more progressive. How about we start by having the nurse in Queens not pay taxes? Why is somebody at all? Why is a nurse in Queens who makes $75,000 a year paying more than $1,000 a month in taxes? That's $1,000 a month that could help with rent or groceries or anything. And so, and by the way, do you know what that all adds up to? The bottom half of income earners in this country pay only 3% of the taxes. It's only 3%. We can find 3%.
Oh, okay. Says the guy with an estimated worth of $269 billion.
Yeah, why don't he contribute that from his
that's
from
what
his
I'm
income?
thinking. Why don't he just make up the 3% himself, by himself?
The big talking point from the left is saying that the rich doesn't pay their fair share in taxes, right?
Yeah, right.
I mean, remember AOC classically wore
Pay
the tax
your
the
fair
rich
share.
in that dress, which she wore to the Met Gala or whatever it was.
Was that the dollar over the eyeballs? No, that was somebody else. Sorry. Anyway.
But does this not go against their narrative? What he's trying to say?
It's not a fair share if the bottom half is paying nothing, right? No one's right. There's
I
no
don't
fair
understand.
share.
How does this then equate to what they're saying? I don't know. I don't get it.
Well, and I see where Bezos is saying, hey, if it's only 3%, why would we tax them? Well, first of all, let's start with 40% of people don't pay anything, okay? And they're also the largest drainers because those are also the people on all the taxpayer-funded subsidy. So it isn't that they're just paying zero. They're also costing hundreds of billions of dollars a year in public subsidies for the people. So it isn't that they just don't pay, but they also are the largest gleaners of taxpayer-funded programs.
We're also, by doing this, we're also essentially punishing people who are successful and driven and want to make more money. And let's just say this. So you'd almost have to go state by state because the cost of living is so different. So let's just say you set that cap at, you have a family of 4 and you make $60,000 or something like that here in Missouri. Would that not, then let's just say that your salary is $65,000, that's what you're offered. Would that not incentivize you to want to get a little bit lower of a salary in order to stay below that threshold so that you're not then paying federal taxes. I feel like it's incentivizing people to stay poor and be more dependent on the government and, just like you mentioned, take advantage of more of these quote-unquote free programs. Because if I know that if I make a little bit less and maybe I tell my employer, hey, instead of taking whatever amount I want, and I'd rather have a couple more vacation days so that you can stay under that little cap.
Yeah.
Because how else do you determine who doesn't pay?
Wherever you set the bar,
people will get below it.
People will try to stay just below it. So
below,
he used a nurse in Queens as his example, making $75,000 a year. Mm-hmm. Are you telling me the nurse in Queens making $75,000 a year doesn't drive on federal interstates? She doesn't take advantage of the taxpayer-funded programs that allow her to get to and from work, or just go right down the list of everything that the federal government provides you, including defense. Is she not obligated, the nurse, is she not obligated to be an active part of our society and participate in funding a government that protects you and provides federal roads and provides all the amenities that the federal the park systems? Mm-hmm. I mean, go right down the list of everything the federal government has to fund. Mm-hmm. Is everybody just supposed to get that stuff for free because they fall below a certain level, or should they all be in a fair amount and in a fair percentage? Right. And goodness knows our low income tax brackets are very fair because nobody pays anything if you're in that 40% of the income earner.
Well, and these are the same people that they think that should be able to take advantage of the free grocery stores that Mom Donnie is setting up. They just want everything for free, but we know it's not free. It's at our expense, the taxpayers, who are paying the larger tax burden.
Don't even get me. Anyway. We don't have the time to get me started on the grocery store effort. I mean, what's next? If they can control your food and your health care and your housing and everything else, guess what? You're in a communist nation when the government provides you everything, and that's...
Welcome to Cuba, folks.
That's what they're pushing for. It's 5:57. We've got coming up in the next hour, we've got the Ross Marchand, the Executive Director of Taxpayers Protection Alliance. Good timing on that. He'll talk to us at the 6:35 hour. Stick around. You're listening to the Marc Cox Morning Show.
I'm William Shatner. I've been around a long time, but I'm truly humbled when I see the real battles our brave, paralyzed veterans have faced defending our freedom. And when they come home.
I had just come home from serving over in Germany. Next thing I know, it was 3 weeks later. I was paralyzed.
While parachuting with my platoon, my parachute didn't open, and I broke my neck. It left me paralyzed for the rest of my life.
I was on a routine patrol, and we were in the desert of Kuwait, and the vehicle flipped and landed on top of me, which left me paralyzed from the waist down.
Okay, folks, this is heroism. That's why I'm proud to support Paralyzed Veterans of America, because they've kept their promise to never leave a fallen soldier behind. A roof over their heads, accessible homes and cars, jobs, benefits.
PVA has brought me back to life.
Show them their sacrifice hasn't been in vain. Go to PVA.org to learn how you can make a difference.
License number GL2500615.
You're cooking dinner. The lights go out. You flip the breaker and forget about it.
But what if it keeps tripping?
Trips once, your breaker's doing its job. Keeps tripping? That's a warning. Bad wiring or something worse.
Do people just keep flipping it?
Most do, until they can't anymore.
Call Grasser. We'll stop the trip.
Green is always Grasser at GrasserHomeservices.com.
When it comes to planning your retirement, there's a lot to think about. Portfolio management, tax planning, and retirement income just to get started. Steve All and his team at the All Financial Group focus on those things and more. Their goal is to help you achieve your goals. Call 636-230-8824 or online, yourmoneymattersstl.com.
Investment advisory products and services made available through Impact Partnership Wealth, LLC, IBW, a registered investment advisor. Insurance and annuities offered through Steve All, NPN number 153-07419.
Hey Max, you look absolutely dashing in that purple tie. Ready to harness the world?
You bet, Daisy. I'm ready as I'll ever be. And might I say, your purple tie really pops with your vest.
Thanks. I almost went with a cape, but didn't want to come across as pretentious.
Nonsense. Anyone in our line of work should rock a cape.
You might be onto something, Max.
Phew, so here we go. First day on the job. We've got this, right?
Right. Don't forget, we both graduated from Dogs Inc. with honors.
Which means I can guide my human around a busy city with ease.
And I can give my human a restful night.
I hope my human is kind and loving.
And I hope mine likes wet kisses and zoomies.
Ready to make a difference?
Born ready. Let's go.
Discover how extraordinary dogs like Daisy and Max change lives at no cost to the recipients. Visit dogsinc.org.
KFTK FM Florissant from the Kaufman Townsley St. Louis's Injury Lawyers Studio. Call 314-777-7777.
That's 314-777-7777.
Iran says it's reviewing a new American proposal. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News. After President Trump Monday delayed resuming bombing, still trying to work out a nuclear deal.
President Trump says he's in no hurry to make a deal since the U.S. naval blockade is causing significant economic damage to Iran and weakening the regime. He indicated the war could resume quickly if Iran doesn't respond well to this proposal.
We're all ready to go. We have to get the right answers.
With a focus on Iran's nuclear program and the Strait of Hormuz, the Islamic Republic recently created what they call the Persian Gulf Strait Authority to force vessels to coordinate directly with Iran in order to pass through the strait. Iran is still playing games as it relates to these negotiations, and there are real questions as the clock is ticking.
Fox's Trey Yingst in Tel Aviv. And in a new Fox News poll,
65% of registered voters do think the U.S. is winning the war in Iran, but a large swath of Americans still reject the military action in the Middle East. The number of voters who oppose the conflict grew from 55% to 60% from April to now.
Fox's Madeline Rivera also in that poll. Only 39% approve of the overall job President Trump is doing. Half say rising gas prices are a major problem, and they're up another penny this morning. AAA's national average for regular now $4.56 per gallon. As the U.S. keeps up a blockade on oil for Cuba, leading to worsening fuel shortages there, more American pressure. An indictment against former leader Raul Castro.
Charging Raul Castro and several others with conspiracy to kill U.S. nationals.
They died 30 years ago when Cuba shot down humanitarian aid planes, and Acting Attorney General Todd Blanche adds in the case against Castro,
there was a warrant issued for his arrest. So we expect that he will show up here by his own will or by another way.
Perhaps like in Venezuela, when in January the U.S. military captured Nicolas Maduro, who'd been indicted on drug and weapons charges, now jailed in New York. America's listening to Fox News.
Here's a tale of Becky. Didn't know what to do with new meds prescribed and no real cost clue.
She squinted at prices, that can't be right. Then tapped GoodRx and saw the light.
She could get a deal. Book telehealth if she feels.
Learn about those meds without any stress. That one little app does all the rest. Even my horse downloaded it. Dang, save time and money on prescriptions.
Check GoodRx. GoodRx is not insurance.
Lots of places can expose you to identity theft.
Oh no.
That's why LifeLock monitors hundreds of millions of data points a second for threats to your identity, which is way more than anyone can do on their own. If we find anything suspicious, like new loans or changes to your financial accounts, we alert you right away, all through text, phone, email, or the LifeLock app. Get the alerts that could make all the difference. Save up to 30% with promo code NEWS at LifeLock.com. Terms apply.
Welcome into this Thursday morning. I'm Kim St. Ange for 97.1 FM Talk. Little on the chilly side right now, 57 degrees, sun's coming up. It is 6:03. Google has announced plans to bring a $15 billion data center to Missouri. The company plans to build this data center in New Florence. That's about 20 miles west of Warrenton. And the plan is for it to go into an already approved $35 billion data center that's run by Amazon. Google will have to pay 100% of its energy costs and also cover any sort of new infrastructure costs that are directly driven by its operations. An off-duty New Baden police officer has died after being hit by a car in Clinton County, Illinois. This happened Tuesday just before midnight. Police identified the officer who was hit as 59-year-old Dave Jordan. He started his law enforcement career in Belleville, then worked with Trenton Police and eventually transferred to the New Baden Police Department more than a decade ago. No word on any charges related to that crash. The viral tarps off trend has become so popular. Listen to this. Busch Stadium has now made an official section for fans to take off their shirts. The tarps off fan section is located in the upper right field bleachers. That trend started, as you might remember, when a Texas baseball team got hundreds of people at Busch Stadium to wave their shirts above their heads like the rally towel. Ballparks across the country have since been joining in on that trend, including the ballparks in Detroit, Philadelphia, and Tampa. In sports, Cardinals got shut out by the Pirates yesterday. It was just ugly. Final score 7-0. They'll wrap up the series with a day game today. First pitch at Busch Stadium, 12:15. 57 degrees now. We're coming up on 6:05. I'm Kim St. for 97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis Conservative.
Traffic from the 97.1 FM Talk Traffic Center.
We still look good on the roads. If you're just headed out, now is the time. Things are quiet on northbound 55. Despite the multiple construction zones, we're in good shape. 44 looks good, 70 eastbound, 64. Quiet through North County. Also looking good on the Illinois side. So we're off to a good start here this morning. Let's see, on 70 tonight, that'll be 8 p.m. until 6 a.m. tomorrow. They'll have one eastbound and westbound lane closed from Forestdale to Wentzville. This report is brought to you by Barron Mirror Glass and Door. Simply the finest when it comes to mirror glass and shower doors. You just can't find better quality, prices, or service. And they have the basics all the way up to the elite. Barron Mirror Glass and Door can't be beat. I'm Sue Thomas with Traffic. 97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis Conservative.
Air Comfort Service, heating, cooling, and insulation. Weather.
It's a little cool going out the door first thing this morning, but overall partly sunny skies, and it's a nice day, though a little cool for this time of year. 73 for the high. Tonight, more and more clouds take over. Let's keep the evening rain-free. 57. Friday, an unsettled day with scattered showers and a couple of thunderstorms, but nothing strong or severe. 72 for the high on Friday. This is 97.1 FM Talk. Chief Meteorologist Dave Murray.
Sunny and 57 degrees here downtown. Our time is 6:06. Hey, you can take the Marc Cox Morning Show with you wherever you go. Very simple. Listen to the show anytime. Just download our free Odyssey app.
The Marc Cox Morning Show is brought to you by Thomas Helbig and Bob Kershaw with the Retirement Advisory Group, retirementkey.com.
This is the Marc Cox Morning Show.
7 minutes after 6 o'clock. Dan Buck sitting in for Marc Cox, who's just he's just playing hooky today, having some fun. I'm not sure what he's doing. Because I said, well, what are you doing? Why am I filling in? He just said, fun day. I go, fun day? What's a fun day? So who knows what he's doing?
And that was the best back in school, like the random days or something if your parents would pull you out of school and you get to do something fun.
My mom never pulled me out of school for nothing.
I know. I was like, when did that happen?
I feel like
you must have had good parenting because my mom was like,
often.
"You are not getting out of school early. Forget it." My mom was a tough one.
I feel like there were a couple occasions where there was something big going on that maybe I left a little bit early for.
Yeah, I couldn't get out for sports. I couldn't get out for vacations. It was like
dentist,
school.
Yeah, I remember. No, but then you'd have to go back. That was
Yeah.
the worst. When you'd go to school, you'd go to your dentist appointment, you'd get numbed up, and then you'd come back with your numb tongue or numb lip, and you have to sit in school the rest of the day.
One of the funniest comedy routines I've ever seen was Bill Cosby talking about going to the dentist. If you ever want to see something funny, go out to YouTube and just put Bill Cosby dentist routine.
What was the gist of it?
His lip being completely numb, and he's such a physical comedian when he was doing stand up, and he just talks about how he couldn't talk.
Like you try to drink out of a straw.
Oh, the whole bit is hysterical.
I actually have numbness.
Great.
I have permanent numbness.
You do not.
I do, from my wisdom teeth. You knew this, right, Ethan?
No, I still have. I just had a dental appointment. There, every time I go, they go, "You need to get those wisdom teeth out," and I'm like, "No,
just be careful."
I'm not doing it.
I have like half my mouth is numb.
Still.
Like 6 years later, 7
Do you
years.
spill stuff out of it?
I've gotten so
if
used
I didn't
to it.
feel it, I wouldn't think I'd just things dribbling down your mouth and you didn't know it was coming out.
It feels very weird. For a very long time, I probably talked about it every day. I was so bothered by it, and it still bothers me every day. But because it's my lip, it's the inside of my mouth. But I'm so used to it now, so I try to just forget about it. But I remember, and you know what's irritating is people are like, oh, you should sue because, paralysis on your face because of your wisdom teeth. And they won't do the extraction unless you sign something essentially removing any sort of liability for him.
No kidding.
Yep.
You would think it's like they would never do that for like vaccines or something where you would be.
Well, they don't have liability either.
I'm just joking. Yeah. Anyway, so did you hear there's a really rich person in North County?
There is a very rich person, yes.
Just won $5 million. Now, is that person?
$5 million.
Is somebody going to be required to come forward and give their name because they're going to have more friends than they ever had in the world? Everybody who went to school with that person in whatever North County school they went to is going to be their new best friend. But they won $5 million in the lotto, right?
Yeah, this was the Missouri Lottery. They bought the ticket at Quick Trip off St. Charles Rock Road.
I did that the other day. I better check my
been
ticket.
You.
No, I'm just kidding.
Missouri, I think, is one of those states where you do have to reveal the winner. I'm pretty sure some states don't require you can have anonymity. I'm pretty sure, and you could correct me if I'm wrong, anyone listening, I'm pretty sure Missouri is one of the states where you do have your name released.
Wow.
Maybe it's opposite, but.
No, I think you're right. I think because most of the time they do, the big winners in Missouri always are publicly announced and brought forward. I think it might be a requirement. But could you set up a trust? That's what I've always wondered. Like, could you set up a trust and say the trust bought the ticket and therefore nobody really knows who's behind the trust?
Oh, man, I doubt that, right?
What's the point of revealing their name? Like, who cares?
Because, they're going to get hounded.
Is it some sort of like a transparency thing to show authenticity of, we actually gave it to this person?
I guess I could see that, but...
Yeah, maybe that is it.
Oh, and think about all the organizations, and there's some amazing organizations, but I'm already irritated enough when I go to the grocery store and everyone's constantly asking me if I want to round up for this cause and round up for that cause, and,
What do you say to them?
No.
Most of the time?
No, most of the time I say no, thank you. I mean,
right.
My husband and I, we tithe and we make sure that we're supporting organizations we care about. And it's just, you don't need to constantly be asking me every time I'm checking out the grocery store if I'd like to round up or I'd like to donate $10 to this cause.
And you always wonder, does all of the money that you're rounding up always get to the agency, or is there some agreement between the charity and the company going, well, if we raise this much, well, you're going to pay us X amount of dollars to promote your...
Oh, I hope not. I hope it's just a goodwill thing of like, we're supporting your cause, but you never really know.
I always heard that that company's already donated the money, and what you're giving the company goes back to the company.
Really?
They're trying to make back, in
other words, they make a commitment. We're going to give $1 million, so we're going to try to make it
and
back
it's like
up.
a fundraiser to get their money back.
But then let's just say they contribute $1 million and they somehow get $3 million. You're saying that they've netted an extra $2 million?
I would think they would have to give the extra $2 million, but they can get their reimbursement up to their first $1 million because the money technically is still going to the charity.
That's what I'm always like. You guys already paid for this. Why do I need to help you?
I was in philanthropy. I saw a lot of stuff for a lot of years,
sure
and I was just head scratching, going, "That can't be legal. What that nonprofit is doing." But it was remarkable. I should write a book. People, when I tell them some of the stories, and I don't even want to name names here because people would be so outraged that.
I'm sure.
But I should write a book because I have so much insider information, and especially in healthcare philanthropy, that would blow your mind.
I mean, obviously, it's hard for these nonprofits when they rely on donations. I can't even imagine how stressful it is. Well, the government funding in some cases, right? But don't be shysty about it. Don't be so sneaky about it. That's what I don't want to feel like you're lying to me, manipulating me in any way. I don't need to see the puppies with the Sarah McLachlan video and make me feel like I'm a horrible person, with the cute little puppy eyes looking at me.
Or the little children in a hospital down in Memphis.
Oh, yeah. You are a terrible person if you don't help this child. Do you not care about children? Clearly you hate puppies. They might as well just say that in the advertisement.
I mean, I do, so I don't feel bad.
All right. I could do a whole segment on philanthropy that would turn your stomach, but we don't have time because right now we got to do the Marc Cox short list. Here we go.
The Marc Cox short list, presented by Rhino Shield.
And I'm in no hurry. You never think, the midterms, I'm in a hurry. I'm in no hurry. I just, ideally, I'd like to see few people killed as opposed to a lot. We can do it either way, but I'd like to see few people killed.
Oh, everybody was up in arms when Trump said that yesterday. Oh, look, he wants a forever war. No, he's just not trying to tip off to the Iranians that he's under any pressure to get this thing resolved quickly. He's going to take whatever means necessary to finish what we started.
As reports continue to come out from the Department of Education, we have seen that public schools are blatantly violating FERPA by secretly encouraging children to adopt so-called transgender identities behind their parents' back.
That's Illinois Congresswoman who is basically pointing out that 34 school districts in the state of Illinois are being investigated right now by the DOJ for violating President Trump's no transgender education in our schools. They're blatantly violating it, and the DOJ is looking into it, saying, "Hey, it's an executive order. Pay attention to that law."
I know that the mayor has no plan. He has come up with no plan at all about how the Bears would end up in the city of Chicago, so that's problematic. I'd love them to be in the city, but we're 3 years in now, and he still has no plan.
Krispy Kreme Pritzker going after Chicago Mayor Brandon Johnson. The Dems are fighting over the potential loss of the Chicago Bears to Indiana. Yes, they might be leaving the land of Lincoln to go to Indiana. Why? Because of high taxes.
We all want to wish a hearty congratulations to our colleague, Joey Jones. So Joey Jones just re-enlisted in the Marine Corps Reserve during a ceremony at the Pentagon today. He will be incredible for recruitment, and what a patriot. Congrats,
Wow.
Joey.
Congratulations.
Love that.
Awesome.
Love Joey Jones on Fox News. The fact that he said there is still unfinished business. He said, "My last task that the Marine Corps gave me was to get well." Of course, he is a double amputee. He was a bomb expert and got blown up by an IUD. And he said, all the Marines asked me to do was get well. And when I did, they allowed me to retire. He says, I feel like I still owe the Marine Corps my time. So he's re-enlisted as a double amputee, and he is going to be in the reservists helping to recruit more brave young men and women to the United States Marine Corps.
Very respectable.
Pretty cool stuff. Yeah. I like him too. He's a real commentator. You can tell he's not a professional broadcaster. He just kind of talks and he's real and a true war hero, and a guy who I'm glad he's going back in and really sharing his story and his love of country and patriotism. And of course, this weekend we will be memorializing and remember what the holiday weekend is all about. And that is to remember those who gave the ultimate sacrifice and those brave men and women who didn't come home. And we remember them on this Memorial Day as we celebrate, and we have our cookouts and we have our family outings and we do all that. Remember, too, what the moment's all about this weekend. So, all right, 6:17. We've got a couple great guests coming up, including Ross Marchand. You talked about what he's going to be talking about. He's with the Taxpayer Protection Alliance. But these rideshare programs, right, are costing all of us money, and we'll explain why. You'd think they would save money when you're doing some carpooling and some rideshare programs. But no, there's actual litigation problems with that, and it cost all of us in our insurance premiums. We'll talk more about that when we come back.
Traffic from the 97.1 FM Talk Traffic Center.
On the roads this morning, we've had a really quiet morning so far. Now we're starting to see a little bit of a slowdown northbound 55 at 141 in the construction zone there. But then things open up and look fine. Eastbound 70 is still in good shape, 6440. We're quiet on the Illinois side. So really, it's so far so good. I'm Sue Thomas with traffic on 97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis Conservative.
Brought to you by USPS Ground Advantage.
Business moves fast. When you ship with USPS Ground Advantage, you can keep up with confidence. Visit USPS.com/groundadvantage to learn more.
I'm telling you, you do not need to move and give up your great interest rate in order to have your dream home. If you don't feel like your home has the best workable space, it's as simple as just making a single call to Lakeside Renovation and Design or going to lakesiderd.com. They do all kinds of things. They do stunning kitchen renovations. They could transform your bathroom to feel like you're in a 5-star hotel all the time in your own home. They do roofing, decks. They could completely extend your backyard space, turn it into your own little oasis. In fact, they did that for one of these homes. I'm looking at their posts on social media. Lakeside RD, by the way, Lakeside Renovation and Design, great company to follow on social media if you need any sort of inspiration, if you've been wanting to do a project. These are experts who back up their work with a lifetime workmanship warranty. They've been here in the St. Louis area for close to 30 years. Lakeside has an A+ rating from the BBB. This is a veteran-founded, family-owned company. Their entire team, by the way, over there is in-house. They're not outsourcing. This is just a company you can feel good about partnering with. Again, the website to go to is lakesiderd.com. It's Lakeside Renovation and Design, lakesiderd.com.
Because we have lawyers in all 50 states, I see lots of lawyers' ads. Most seem to be bragging on results, but are they true or misleading? For example, in some cases, a firm may try a case even though the at-fault party has no lawyer, then brag in the ad about their results. My son Matt got one for nearly $50 million, but we never collected one dime. Some lawyers may say they got a result even though they were sitting second chair at a firm like mine, and even though they had little to do with it. Happens all the time. All that glitters is not gold. At Morgan & Morgan, our results are real. Visit forthepeople.com and go to Settlements and Verdicts to see for yourself what your case may be worth before you hire a law firm. Do your homework. Fact check. It's easy and too important not to. Morgan & Morgan, forthepeople.com.
Injured? Dial pound law or visit forthepeople.com for an office near you.
Hello, 4th of July.
Back-to-back Jack. Kerry Robinson, a hero tonight.
The Cubs visit St. Louis May 29th through the 31st for a weekend of baseball's best rivalry at Busch Stadium. The history is real, the fans are loud, and the energy in the ballpark is unmatched. Day or night, every pitch matters when these two meet. Get ready, Cardinals fans. This is what summer baseball in St. Louis is all about. Don't miss a moment of it. Get your tickets at cardinals.com.
The weekend starts at Busch Stadium. Grab your crew and kick it off at Friday Night Live. Every Friday night home game, Budweiser Terrace turns into the hottest happy hour in the Lou. With $5 beers, $5 hot dogs, $7 margaritas, live music, and more all game long. Meet up with friends, soak in the energy, and keep the night going with baseball under the lights. Good vibes, great deals, your new Friday tradition. Get tickets now at cardinals.com.
The time now is 6:21, and this time check is brought to you by Paramount Men's Medical Center. Dan and Kim are about to jump into some local headlines. They're going to give you a little bit of deeper dive here on the St. Louis Morning Brief, and that starts now.
St. Louis Morning Brief.
Man, I just really love this tarps off trend that started right here at Busch Stadium from a Texas baseball team.
In
of all
town for a
people.
tournament, and they just got crazy one inning, said, hey, let's take our shirts off and wave them around. And they got on the Jumbotron, and the rest is history.
You know, and props to Busch Stadium for really capitalizing on this. Ollie Marmol said, hey, if you come back, we'll buy your tickets for the entire section, which they did. And now it's gotten so popular, the Busch Stadium just announced yesterday that starting at last night's game, they were playing the Pirates, they got smoked, but they said these are going to be designated seats, an entire section for people who want to take part in this tarps off trend, as they've been calling it. So I guess you're not required to take your shirt off if you sit in this section, but I'm assuming that everybody around you will.
Peer pressure will get to you, I'm sure.
By the way, if you're interested, it's in the upper right field bleachers. It's the sections 107, 109, and 111. So if you are interested in getting tickets for that area, that's the area you'd want to buy the tickets in.
Is there something off besides your shirt? Like, do you get a ticket price off? You know.
Well, I'm glad you said tickets off instead of where I thought you might be going with that.
Oh, yeah.
Let's not do like a pants off trend.
No.
Let's just leave it at the
now,
shirt.
did you hear other major league teams are also following us? So we're a trendsetter now. Everybody in the country, because we made every major sports highlight reel with our guys and with these Texas guys, and now it's going to, I heard Arlington, Texas, the Texas Rangers are going to be doing it.
I heard Detroit, Philly, and then Tampa.
Yeah, so it's becoming a fad. Every stadium in the country now may have a shirts off section.
They gave them free bucket hats last night too.
Oh, really?
Yep.
A free
that's
what?
cool.
A bucket hat.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm.
What's a bucket hat?
Like
How do you
what
explain
Gilligan
it? Like
wore
like
for
trendy,
Gilligan's Island.
almost looks like a fisherman hat. Is
Yeah.
that how you would describe
cool.
it?
Yeah, like
They were ugly, and somehow they made a comeback.
like the old golf hats, kind of with the brim, right? Sort of thing.
Kind of, but
It's
it's
what
like
Gilligan wore on Gilligan's
it's a
Island.
soft,
Yeah,
flimsy.
Gotcha.
You know.
All right.
Anyway, they're back in style.
Wonderful.
Just because they're back in style though doesn't mean you should be wearing them. Anyway, moving on. Okay, so Waymo has been here since December in the city of St. Louis testing their driverless all-electric vehicles because the plan was to bring them here. But they've been testing with human drivers. Well, there was some sort of legislation that was going through the Missouri legislature that would have essentially it would have blocked local regulations and established liability requirements and all these different things that ended up dying the last week of session. And so Waymo has said, well, this is a little bit more challenging for us, that we're not giving up because they said that there has been a demand for these driverless vehicles to come to the city. But they said that there's some more hurdles now that they're having to jump through to try to get these things officially launched.
Did you hear some city, I can't remember what it was, but they are all getting trapped in one neighborhood?
Was it Atlanta? Does that sound right?
Yeah, where the lady put out one of those those little kid things in the street because she didn't want all these Waymos coming in, and they were staging basically in their neighborhood until they would get a call, right? Well, they didn't want that because they said there's so many kids playing, so she put her little kids playing sign in the street. Well, it confused these things, and they were getting themselves into traffic jams because they were recognizing this thing in the street as a person, and so they wouldn't proceed, and they were all getting jammed up. It was hysterical a story, but I'm not. Would you get in a car with no driver?
I would try it out.
I don't.
But I don't really use. I used to use when I was younger in my early 20s. I would use Uber or things like that. But I don't really. There's not a big need for me to take one here. I'm not really going downtown for that many events, and if I am, I'm driving my car. If I'm going to a Cardinals game, I'll park and pay the $20 or $30, whatever it is, and just
unofficial, unofficial, non-scientific poll. If you're on Facebook or on our text line, tell us: would you get into a car without a driver? I'm a big fat no. No.
They claim it's safer because of human error.
Yeah,
but then when you see these cars like in Austin, Texas, where they're just stopping automatically, you have to
Or you
wonder.
get locked in it, like the one guy got locked in it for like an hour and a half. He couldn't. He could not get out of the car.
Oh my God! Just banging on the window. Come on!
It wouldn't unlock it. I'm trapped.
So the city of St. Louis has been wrestling with the Rams settlement money, $230 million, figuring out how to do it. I know one of the things they want to spend money on relates to water infrastructure. They're saying it's very dated. They have to make these changes. Well, the Board of Aldermen here in the city has not officially decided, but something tells me that they will push this through because of what is set to happen at 9:30 this morning, because that's when St. Louis Mayor Kara Spencer is set to announce a plan for significant increases in water rates for the residents in the city. So here's your 1% earnings tax. We need more of your money for water. I mean, what else can we milk you for?
We're talking 18%, people. This is an 18% proposed rate hike, but Rams money's not your solution.
Oh, it starts at 18%, but then come 2028, they go up an additional 6%, and then it keeps piling on top, like an additional 6% the following year. I mean, get ready. If you live in the city,
But the Rams money is a short-term solution to big-term problems.
They're all about Band-Aids in the city. They don't understand addressing the issue at the root of it. They just think, let's just slap some gauze and a Band-Aid on it and call it good.
And the Rams money will make no economic impact on our city. It should have gone into economic growth. It should have gone into a business development type program where new companies were incentivized to come here and be a part of this community and to bring jobs and to bring, downtown back to life. But no, instead we're going to be putting sewers and water lines in. Great.
I know we have to go to break, but speaking of jobs, Google's bringing a $15 billion data center to New Florence, which is, I guess, 30 miles or so outside of Warrenton.
Right by Warrenton,
it
off
is
70.
Coming.
Yeah, it's coming. More data centers. We need them, I guess, for all the AI coming. It's 6:28. Dan Buck sitting in for Marc Cox on your Thursday morning. Thanks for letting us be a part of it. Back after the news.
Hey, if you are a member of the military, active duty, or retired, you have served your country honorably, Guess what? My friends at Lawn Enforcement have a discount ready for you on all of their services. If you want to get your yard mowed and trimmed properly, they're going to give you that discount. If you're looking for fertilization and weed control, they're doing that for me right now, which is fantastic because I always forget to do it. They'll get that taken care of. They can handle retaining walls if you need one of those, and then landscape, design, and installation. I have not had the ability personally to look at a landscape and design it. I need help with that. And Brendan and the people over there have been doing this for 30 years. Reach out to them. They're going to tell you exactly what you need to do. And it doesn't matter if it's a small project or the entire yard. Instead of envying your neighbor's lawn, they're going to be wishing they had yours. Take your lawn from good to great. Go online today to yourlawnenforcement.com.
New tax resolution firms are popping up every day with high-paid celebrity endorsers, advertising ridiculous claims in their TV ads. That's why they have the tiny, unreadable disclaimers at the bottom of the screen. Hi, this is Lance Drury with the Lance Drury Law Firm. Our ads never have those ridiculous, fast-talking, tiny disclaimers at the end because, simply put, there are no guarantees when it comes to the IRS and wiping out tax bills. And we don't make promises we can't keep. Of course, there are ways the Lance Drury Law Firm can help resolve your tax debt, but no company can guarantee it will eliminate it. This is why their clients call the Lance Drury Law Firm when those promises don't pan out. If you have tax problems, you have legal problems, call me, Lance Drury in St. Louis, at 314-260-6120 or visit Lance, D-R-U-R-Y, law.com to schedule your free consultation with your local tax resolution law firm.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements.
Traffic from the 97.1 FM Talk Traffic Center.
Really nice commute so far this morning. There's a little bit of volume on northbound 55 at 141 in the construction zone there. And again, northbound 270, this one at Jordy Ferry. But that's about it. Other than that, we look good. It's quiet through North County. We look good from out west into downtown on 70 and 64. On the Illinois side, it's quiet as well. We're kind of just at the beginning of summer vacation. So traffic is about to kind of switch into that mode. I'm Sue Thomas with traffic on 97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis Conservative.
Sponsored by Gloria Lou with your home sold guaranteed realty 314-325-6888.
Need to sell your home and you want the most money? The name to remember is Gloria Lou. Yes, Gloria Lou with your home sold guaranteed realty at 314-325-6888 and start packing.
The Cards, the Pirates.
Siteman Cancer Center game time 12:15. Play ball. Siteman Cancer Center, national leader in cancer.
The home of the Cardinals. 104.1 FM KMOX.
The ACA Market Plan has just announced significant increases on their monthly premiums for 2026, with deductibles over $10,000. You can enroll with Greg Hammond's Freedom of Choice plans now. You don't have to wait. One of their plans lets you use any doctor, has zero outpatient deductibles, and it's 30 to 60% lower than most Obamacare plans. Other options are full coverage PPOs with national networks, copays, and 100% annual preventative care. Also, there's no income disclosure required, so no potential tax penalties. If you pay for your own health insurance, you're uninsured, you're on COBRA, or your employer coverage is just too expensive, call Greg, and they'll provide all available options. Call 314-794-7784. That's 314-794-7784. Or go to greghammonds.com. That's greghammonds.com. He can custom design a plan managed and chosen by you, not the government.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack. Sure, you can post your job to some job board, but then all you can do is hope the right person comes along, which is why you should try ZipRecruiter for free at ziprecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter doesn't depend on candidates finding you. It finds them for you. Its powerful technology identifies people with the right experience and actively invites them to apply to your job. You get qualified candidates fast. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you what you're looking for. The needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free. That's right, free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. That's ZipRecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter.com/radio.
ZipRecruiter. Spring and summer air should feel fresh, not full of dust and allergens and whatever winter left behind in your air ducts. Marc Cox here. You know, your vents are the lungs of your home, and if they're dirty, you're breathing it in every day. That's where Zero Res comes in, backed by thousands of Google reviews and a 4.9 rating. This month only, get a whole system air duct cleaning for just $5.99. 314-474-2020 or visit ZeroResSTL.com and ask for the 97.1 special.
Tony LaRussa here. Has your loss of energy and weight gain thrown you a curveball in your relationship? If so, go see my friends over at Victory Men's Health. Discreet first-class professionals will help you hit those curves out of the park. VictoryMen'sHealth.com. That's VictoryMen'sHealth.com.
Celebrating 250 years of freedom and 25 years of 97.1 FM Talk in St. Louis.
6:35, Dan Buck sitting in for Marc Cox on a Thursday morning, and the big talking point for the upcoming election is affordability. Everybody's talking about the increasing cost of everything, and if you haven't paid attention over the last year or two to your auto insurance, you probably have not noticed increases. I haven't had an accident. Kim, I bet it's been 5 years, 6 years since I've had any claim whatsoever.
I'm scared that you're saying this online or on the air, because normally what happens is something then happens.
Well, but I'm saying, I've seen an increase of like 25% over the past 2 years to our family, and we're both good drivers, no records, no speeding tickets, nothing. And I'm like, how can this be going up? Well, it's because of litigation happening in the industry, and we're paying basically a tort tax, if you want to call it that, for all of the increases that we've seen. And we thought that'd be a great topic to talk with Ross Marchand, who is the executive director of the Taxpayer Protection Alliance, because this is a hot topic issue right now in Congress, is it not? To try to give some protections to rideshare programs, of all things, that are kind of the leading cause of litigation in the auto industry, right?
Oh, it most certainly is a hot topic. And look, auto insurance premiums, they are relentlessly rising, and you don't just see that in car-related payments. Also, every time you use a ride-sharing app, whether it be Uber, Lyft, or any other app, the price keeps going up because litigation is out of control, and that gets baked into higher and higher costs and higher prices that you have to pay every time you call an Uber or Lyft.
So at the House level, the Transportation Committee, I guess, is looking into this, and they call it the Surface Transportation Bill. I think later today that's going to go before the committee. In fact, we have 3 Missouri congressmen on that committee. We've got Onder, Graves, and I believe Burleson are all on that committee. What are they going to be discussing? How can they help, Americans, especially here in Missouri, bring those costs down through this new bill?
Well, there's some great news. It's breaking news, and that last night an amendment was introduced that would extend liability protections, which currently only apply to rental cars, to ride-sharing platforms. So that means there won't be, as you put it, a tort tax on each and every ride that Americans take.
I mean, this is just wild, though, that it's been going on. How long has this been in place and we just haven't realized it? And to Dan's point, we've just been seeing our premiums go up and we're wondering why. And I'm sure there's other factors that are driving up our costs, but it sounds like this has certainly been a factor.
Yeah, so I remember 15 years ago, I started using ride-sharing platforms like many Americans, and from the start, there was this issue in that, these lawyers, right, so they sit around, they say, where are the deepest pockets that we could go after if there's an accident? So let's say, unfortunately, the worst happens and an Uber driver runs a red light, right, and hits another car. Is the Uber driver going to be on the hook? Maybe, but what these lawyers try to do is they try to target the ride-sharing platforms, even though they have no blame whatsoever. And more often than not, they're successful, and we all pay the price. So this has been going on for as long as ride-sharing platforms have been on Americans' minds, and Americans have been using these platforms.
So you're saying even if the Uber driver was not at fault in crashes, these deep-pocket attorneys see Uber, right? So they go after the big corporation, even if their driver might have been at fault, correct?
Right. Yeah, if it's just limited to the Uber driver, how much money could they realistically collect? Not too much. So they say, oh, we know what we'll do. We will target the deeper-pocketed corporation. And this is a pattern. This plays out across a bunch of different industries. These lawyers, they try to target the most successful companies, right, that have the most money that they could potentially extract from in the case of, a court case that goes their way. And that, unfortunately, happens way too much.
And I was when I was reading some of your material, I was blown away that the Missouri Department of Commerce and Insurance came out and said that this tort tax, as you call it, is costing average Missourians $1,200 a year in additional insurance premiums just because of all this increased litigation, for the most part.
Yeah, it's only going to get worse unless we address this problem.
Yeah, and they believe that somewhere between $3,400 and $3,500 per family. So if you got teenage drivers, that only compounds for every driver you put on it, because everybody is going to have to pay for these huge settlements and these lawsuits, because the insurance companies aren't going to eat that, right? They're going to pass that along to us as the consumers.
Exactly, and a lot of this, now I'm a lawyer myself, a lot of this gets buried in legalese. So we don't understand. So when we hear about a tax, it's more or less straightforward. But when we hear about things like litigation, eyes glaze over, right? But it really is a tax in every sense of the word, and it's costing Americans every day this problem is not resolved.
Well, I know back in 2005 when Missouri Congressman Graves came up with the Congress, what they call it, the Graves Amendment, actually, where he protected rental cars. And I'm sure that the folks here at Enterprise and now National were a big part of trying to get that. But rental cars aren't at risk anymore, right? They're not at risk of if somebody who rents a car from them and one of their drivers gets in an accident, they can't come back now anymore at those rental companies. This was a problem for them a decade ago or 20 years ago. And they're protected. They're protected now,
yeah.
Right?
Exactly, yes. This was a problem that was addressed by the Graves Amendment, and that was a very sensible piece of legislation. And now there's a proposal, again, released last night, will be considered this morning in Congress, that will extend that liability protection to ride-sharing platforms.
And that would save all of us money if they can't get huge litigations out of those ride-share programs, right?
Absolutely. It would eliminate the tort tax.
We're talking to Ross Marchand, Executive Director for Taxpayers Protection Alliance. And I guess my question for you is, we were just talking about Waymo, because they've been trying to bring these driverless cars to St. Louis, and they're running into some issues with state regulations. But how does that play into this? Because, that certainly has to have an impact, too, because those are starting to take over a lot of these larger cities across the country. And you don't have a driver in that case.
That is a great question. And driverless taxis, it's really just a fascinating and complicated issue. That has more to do with the underlying design of the car. So it has more to do with the car itself as a product than the interaction between, let's say, a ride-sharing company, right, in the more conventional case of Uber or Lyft, and the driver. So this is a very tricky issue, and people are still trying to think this over. How do we apply liability in these cases of driverless taxis?
Hey, one of our listeners brings up a great point, too, that continues to plague all of us, and that's uninsured motorists, which I'm sure also plays into some of these increases. Is the 20 million illegals that have come here, many of them don't even have driver's licenses and are clearly uninsured in many cases, has that caused some of this economic upturn in the last couple of years in our taxes, in our premiums as well?
Yes, all this gets added to the mix. Now, it's a really difficult issue to solve, right? It's not something as simple like, in the case of the ride-sharing platforms and liability, you just extend the Graves Amendment. It's difficult to find an equivalent, easy solution to that problem, the problem of uninsured motorists. But, you think about all these problems, and they all add up, and they cost Americans a lot of money when taken together.
So what's the hearing today? What is the hopeful outcome, and how quickly can we get it through the House and ultimately to the president's desk?
Well, hopefully these liability protections get extended from rental cars to ride-sharing apps, and it gets to the president's desk as quickly as possible.
Awesome. Well, Ross, appreciate it. You always bring great insight, and appreciate you joining us this morning.
Thanks for having me on.
That's Ross Marchand. He's the executive director of the Taxpayer Protection Alliance. It's good that there's groups out there, though, that are just kind of keeping us informed. I mean, so much is going on sometimes in Congress, you don't know what bills really mean. If you saw a bill, and this is what it's called, I would have no idea that this was what it's about. This is a markup of the Surface Transportation Bill. That's what the bill is called.
Yeah.
Would you have any idea what the Surface Transportation Bill was about?
No, just has something to do with transportation.
Yeah, right. But you wouldn't know that it's trying to protect us from lawsuits and us all having to pay for lawsuits against the Ubers of the world because they're the big pocket. They're not going after just the individual drivers. They're going after these corporations, which the insurance companies are passing on that expense of all that litigation to the masses.
It's hard. You have to strike a balance between... You want to go after the right person. So in this case, it would be the driver. That makes the most sense. If you have a reckless driver, he or she should not be driving for one of these rideshare companies. But you also don't want to remove complete liability. And I'm not suggesting that they are, or that they're advocating for that. But you don't want to remove complete liability. That's, I think, where you're trying to kind of figure out, okay, where is that line here?
But he was saying even in Uber driver situations where it was not the Uber driver's fault.
Right, they were still going after
They're
Uber.
Still going after the parent corporation saying...
Because they have money.
Yes, that this driver was not well vetted or this person, so they're trying to find blame and putting blame on. And so many times they just settle. They don't want to go through the litigation
it's costly.
But the lawyer fees it. So they just constantly create these settlements. These lawyers know that, so they file as many frivolous lawsuits, hoping 50% of them stick. And where does all that money that goes to the lawyers come from? It comes out of your and I's pocket by paying our premiums.
And that's it. I mean, what is the vetting process for, say, Uber or Lyft? Because I do want to trust that when I get into one of these vehicles, and I don't use them often, like I said, but I want to know that my driver hasn't just been smoking pot or been drinking booze or doing something else real funky. They didn't just murder someone last week. I mean... These are the kinds of things that I hope that these companies are trying to at least get. They can't track every single person. They're not going to have a live camera feed in every single vehicle. Not that I would advocate for that either. To make sure they're not doing anything weird, but there should be some sort of a vetting process for these drivers.
I just look at the
and that's where the liability does fall on the company to a degree.
Yeah.
But ultimately, if it's the bozo who's driving recklessly, for Uber or Lyft, and they cause the accident, then yes, that driver is the one who should be paying and having it on his or her record.
Yeah, and the ratings of the drivers, which is part of the apps, is what I look at first. I don't even care what kind of vehicle it is. I could care less if they say, oh, the car was dirty or whatever. Was the guy a good driver?
Yeah.
And
but what if those are manipulated? Is there any way that you could be putting in false ratings?
You can't get on the app unless you use that driver. So you can only rate the driver of which you got into. It's not like this is not like Yelp.
Hey, what do you think about Rob? He's a driver for her.
Hey, I'm going to get all my friends and family to give me great reviews.
You think he seems like he'd be a good driver?
Yeah,
Here's his picture.
The reviews only happen after you've booked the drive. You can't rate
I've seen
anybody.
that, but it just freaks me out. Like maybe I'm becoming a little conspiracy theorist. Maybe I already am. I am probably. But maybe in that way too of like, how do I really trust anything these days?
We got crazy other news coming up after the break. It is 6:47, the Marc Cox Morning Show.
Traffic from the 97.1 FM Talk Traffic Center.
Mainly moderate volume on the roads at this hour. If you are eastbound on 70, there's just a little bit of moderate volume around Bryan Road before it opens up. Southbound 61, slow, headed for 64 this morning. And some volume at Prospect, eastbound on 40. But then it opens up and looks fine from out west into downtown. Now, we do have some volume on northbound 270. It's moderate. It's right around Jordy Ferry and again approaching 64. 55 at this hour. Some volume around 141 in the construction zone there, but then it opens up. We have a little bit of volume periodically westbound on the Missouri end of the Poplar Street Bridge, but generally we are quiet. This report brought to you by McKelvey Homes. I'm Sue Thomas with traffic on 97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis Conservative.
McKelvey Homes is breaking ground on something new in O'Fallon, Strawberry Farms. When McKelvey builds something, they do it right. Visit McKelvey Homes to schedule a tour at Strawberry Farms in O'Fallon. Visit McKelveyHomes.com today and move up to McKelvey.
Hey, it's Annie. Grab your clubs and head to Tamarack Golf Course on Friday, May 22nd for the St. Clair County Republicans annual golf tournament. Shotgun start, 18 holes, carts, contest, lunch, and great prizes. Learn more at 971talk.com/events.
When it comes to roofs, I'm always going to recommend to you the best person I know, and that is one Curtis Carell. He owns Carell Roofing Company, and he and his wife, Annie, run this business, and they're going to take great care of you when it comes to your roof. They know this is a big deal. This is important. It contributes to the look of your home. It contributes to the security of your home. You want to make sure you're getting that roof inspected regularly to make sure you're not going to have a leak or you don't have damage from some past storm that you're not aware of. You should probably get your roof inspected at least every 5 years. And if you haven't had it inspected in the last year or two, it's time. It's probably past time. Call Curtis today at 314-222-9529, 222-9529. That gets you to Curtis Carell. They're going to come out, they're going to take a look at it, and they'll work with your insurance agent to get you coverage if you need a new roof. Curtis will be honest with you. So call him today or go online to CarellRoofingCo.com.
When it comes to planning your retirement, there's a lot to think about. Portfolio management, tax planning, and retirement income just to get started. Steve All and his team at the All Financial Group focus on those things and more. Their goal is to help you achieve your goals. Call 636-230-8824 or online, yourmoneymattersstl.com.
Investment advisory products and services made available through Impact Partnership Wealth, LLC, IPW, a registered investment advisor. Insurance and annuities offered through Steve All, NPN number 153-07419.
When it comes to family law, a lot has changed in recent years, so assumptions can be costly. If you see or sense a change coming in your family life that could have legal implications, it's important to know where you stand. Getting good legal advice early is never a bad idea. I'm Joe Cordell of Cordell & Cordell. If you or anyone you know is facing a family law issue, start with a consultation. Visit CordellCordell.com.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements. 600 Kelwood, St. Louis.
Hair Volume from New Nordic will make your hair look thick and healthy. Available as a tablet or delicious gummy. Hair Volume is available online at Amazon and NewNordicUSA.com or in the hair care aisle at your local CVS.
This is the Marc Cox Morning Show on 97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis Conservative.
What's happening?
Go, you know the thing.
What the hell is going on?
In other news.
There's a guy in Texas who's just, not very smart. So the cyber trucks, which by the way are just ugly. They look like weird spaceships. But anyway, I did not realize this, but they have what's called Wade mode.
Wade mode.
And I Googled this. It says it's an off-road setting available on the Tesla Cybertruck. It raises the vehicle's suspension to its maximum height and pressurizes the high-voltage battery to protect it from water and debris when crossing shallow, keyword right there, shallow bodies of water. So I assume if you have a road that's been a little bit flooded, that maybe it would better your chances of being able to get across it. Well, some guy decided to test that Wade mode out, and he drove right into a lake.
You can't fix stupid. Oh, my God. He thought it would, float? I mean, hey, I just put it in Wade mode. I can just go straight into the water. Hey, I gotta you can't fix stupid story. A man with a prior DWI conviction that he already had under his belt went to pick up a friend of his at the county jail who was also in jail for a DWI. Well, he didn't pass go. He did not collect his friend because he was arrested for DWI when he arrived at the jail. He was drunk, and they knew that he drove there, so they just played musical chairs with the DWI. I think one guy got out, but his buddy who came to pick him up went in. crazy.
What was running through his brain as he was driving?
Yeah, this is
Not
a good
much,
idea. I'm going
clearly.
to get smashed before I go pick up my buddy who's in jail for a DWI. And oh, by the way, I already have one. Isn't there 3 strikes and you're out? Like, will he never have his license again? What? Anyway.
Probably shouldn't.
Yeah.
Six Flags, another issue there. I feel like I just told you all about this similar situation. I forget where that one was, but this one involved riders being forced to walk down from a 245-foot tall roller coaster after it stopped midair because of a power outage. This happened in Texas.
How high were they?
245 feet in the air. This was the Titan roller coaster.
Oh,
and
no.
you can there's a video of them walking down the steep steps of this roller coaster, and they were all safe, and just for some goodwill, they were given free tickets for a future visit after the incident.
I bet.
A free ticket. Thank you very much.
Hey, and here's a voucher for a free hot dog too.
I won't sleep forever. I'm going to have nightmares of my roller coaster experience, but thank you for my
come
free
back.
ticket. Yeah.
I remember that happening at the Screaming Eagle.
Here in St. Louis?
Yeah. It was years ago, but it stopped.
gets really, really high. Are you saying it was at the tip? That one, by the way, is
it was
freaky.
up at the top of that first hill.
So some of these roller coasters are really steep that you could not get down them unless you're holding on and climbing. So what do you do in that scenario?
I think you'd have to go back the way, where the chains take you.
Yeah, you walk
up.
backwards down that big hill.
Oh, my God.
A lot of them when you're going up, if you watch, they've got little steps and there's a handle right there because they know there's a chance that might happen.
That one is so old and rickety that you're going down and the whole roller coaster track is shaking, which I'm sure is part of the thrill of it because you don't know if you're going to survive or if it'll just fall apart when you're on it. That freaks me out, though. And I've not been on that. I haven't been to Six Flags in like 2 decades.
Those old wooden ones are so violent. I mean, I used to think how fun they were. Now they just beat the crap out of you. You're like,
it's because we're old, Dan.
I know, exactly. Well, the longest show cancellation of all time finally ends tonight. He was canceled back in July, but he stayed on the air. But finally, Stephen Colbert will say goodbye, and we'll all say sayonara. That'll be one show I won't tune in for, but I'm sure millions will. They've not announced who his final guest would be. They're keeping it a secret. Tonight will be the farewell, swan songs, sayonara. Don't let the door hit you on the way out.
People are speculating that his final guest will be George Clooney because Clooney was Colbert's first guest when the show debuted in 2015. So kind of like a full circle moment is what they're thinking.
He can't go away quick enough. I just hate the guy. Now, there is talk. Have you heard the rumors that he may have some political aspirations, either a Senate run and even some say that there are folks in the Democratic Party trying to get him to think about the presidency or being on the ticket. Can you imagine that? How low would that party have to be to think Stephen Colbert is their best choice for president, the most polarizing man I know?
He would not stand a chance. I guess I'm not that surprised that some of his supporters think he should run for office.
The left loves this guy.
But you really think that he would stand a chance if he put his name in the hat?
No, I don't. Maybe, but he's got name recognition. He's obviously a decent orator.
He kind of looks like a politician.
Oh, totally.
He does have the look.
Totally look. Yeah, and he's hacked off. He got trumped. He's out. And
it'll be him and Don Lemon.
Oh, yeah, I forgot about Don Lemon with
There's
office.
your winning
gosh.
ticket. Your winning ticket. Lemon and Colbert. We're back with more of the Marc Cox Morning Show.
Men, if you're suffering from erectile dysfunction or PE, you're not alone. Most importantly, you don't have to live with it. Paramount Men's Medical Center restores men's sex lives in just one visit. Their painless breakthrough treatments eliminate ED and PE, even when Viagra and Cialis don't work. Here's Dr. Simovitz, specialist in men's health.
Paramount Men's Medical Center's painless breakthrough treatments eliminate ED and PE, regardless of age or medical history. 98% of patients see instant results right in the office.
Men are now lasting longer than they ever imagined. And the best part, at Paramount Men's Medical Center, your consultation and first treatment are free. Qualified patients even get their testosterone checked free. Call 314-887-4333. 314-887-4333. Take control of your sex life. Call now. 314-887-4333.
Just a reminder to have your air conditioner checked for the summer so you don't have a mishap and it goes down in the hottest day of the year. But it's always best to have it done. Call us, and we'll be more than happy to come out there and check it for you. And like always, if you're having your furnace checked by another company and you are told that this is the year you need to replace it, call me for a second opinion. The 0% interest is still available on most brands. Save your cash and keep your credit cards open and away from those high rates. Call me. You'll be glad you did. Bart Inman, one easy number in Missouri and Illinois. The easiest. It is 314-293-2600. Or on the website, bartinman.com. Now that's Bart with a B, Inman with an I.com. God bless.
Hi, I'm Bob Kershaw with Retirement Advisory Group.
Hi, I'm Tammy Kershaw. When we meet our clients for the first time, they have built up a lifetime of savings. Their question is, what can we do with this money so we can live comfortably the rest of our lives? First, we develop a strategy to protect your nest egg from any market losses. Then, we build your own personalized structured income plan that will generate you an income the rest of your life. We put you in control of your money.
You've earned it, and it's our job to make sure you enjoy it. Let our team show you how you can have the retirement of your dreams. Call us now at 314-993-9494 for a no-cost, no-obligation retirement review. You will also get a copy of our latest edition book, Your Key to a Worry-Free Retirement. We've been helping retirees and pre-retirees retire with confidence for 40 years. Call us now at 314-993-9494 or go online at retirementkey.com. That's retirementkey.com.
KFTK FM Florissant from the Kaufman Townsley St. Louis's Injury Lawyers Studio. Call 314-777-7777.
That's 314-777-7777.
President Trump probably won't like this. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News. The new hardline nuclear stance Iran is taking.
The supreme leader of Iran is saying that the enriched uranium inside the country must stay inside of Iran. This is a position they've held since the very beginning of all of these negotiations, and they're not budging on this as far as the Reuters reporting today. So we'll see how it complicates matters in these latest rounds of talks. The president still, though, hopes that Iran will come to a deal, but he's warning that he's willing to ditch this 6-week ceasefire and resume strikes if they give him the wrong answer.
Fox's Aisha Hasni at the White House. There's a new Fox News poll showing the number of Americans opposing U.S. military action in Iran has risen to 60%. Half say rising gas prices are a major problem, and citing that concern, Walmart issued a worse than expected financial forecast in its earnings report this morning. Also in that Fox poll, Trump approval has dropped just 39%, like the overall job the president is doing. A big-time Trump supporter hospitalized in California after an attack outside his controversial house.
The Escondido home has so many Trump flags and memorabilia, it's referred to by supporters and detractors alike as the Trump house. The owner in critical condition following the vicious beating outside the house.
Fox's Gary Baumgarten, a suspect's in custody, but Raul Castro is not yet. The acting U.S. Attorney General says they intend to arrest the now indicted 94-year-old Cuban leader. Fox's Madeline Rivera details the charges.
Conspiracy to kill U.S. nationals, destruction of aircraft, and murder. A superseding indictment states Cuban intelligence agents infiltrated a humanitarian organization, Brothers to the Rescue, back in the early 90s. Military officials allegedly then used this intelligence to shoot down 3 BTTR planes.
4 people were killed. America's listening to Fox News.
Here's a tale of Tina searching up and down for decent GLP-1s, but got spun around.
Till Good RX wrote in, hey, we got something new. GLP-1 prescriptions, all FDA approved.
Brand name meds, no flags that are red.
Clear pricing from the start. None of those hidden fees in your cart.
Delivered to your door or pick up same day. Darn tootin'.
Save time and money on prescriptions.
I'd put it to goodrx.com/weight loss. GoodRx is not insurance.
You're great at protecting your data, but lots of places could still expose you to identity theft.
I thought it was safe.
If that happens, LifeLock gives you a U.S.-based restoration agent who will stick by your side from start to finish. Phone calls, filing documentation, preparing insurance claims, your agent handles it all. In fact, we're so confident restoration is guaranteed or your money back. Isn't it nice to have someone like that on your side? Save up to 30% with promo code NEWS at lifelock.com. Terms apply.
Oh, a beautiful start here in this Thursday morning. Sunny here downtown, 57 degrees. Our time is 7:03. I'm Kim St. Ange for 97.1 FM Talk. Google has announced plans to bring a $15 billion data center to Missouri. The company plans to build that data center in New Florence. That's about 20 miles west of Warrenton. The plan is for it to go into an already approved $35 billion data center that's run by Amazon. Google will have to pay 100% of its energy costs and also cover any sort of new infrastructure costs that are directly driven by its operations. An off-duty New Baden police officer has died after being hit by a car in Clinton County, Illinois. This happened Tuesday, just before midnight. Police identified the officer who was hit as 59-year-old Dave Jordan. He started his law enforcement career in Belleville, then worked with Trenton Police and eventually transferred to the New Baden Police Department more than a decade ago. No word yet on any sort of charges related to the crash. That viral tarps off trend has become so popular, Busch Stadium has now made...
I want to compliment your show on how fair and level...
All right, there we go. We'll go back. The viral tarps off trend has become so popular, Busch Stadium has now made an official section for fans to take off their shirts. That tarps off fan section is in the upper right field bleachers. You might remember it started when a Texas baseball team got hundreds of people right at Busch Stadium to wave their shirts above their heads like a rally towel. Ballparks across the country joined in on the trend, including the parks in Detroit, Philadelphia, and Tampa. In sports, speaking of the Cards, unfortunately they got shut out by the Pirates yesterday. Final score 7-0. Wrapping up the series with a day game today. First pitch will be 12:15. Coming up on 7:05, 57 degrees. I'm Kim St. Ange for 97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis Conservative.
Traffic from the 97.1 FM Talk Traffic Center.
Good morning. I'll tell you what, on the roads, it's kind of a nice commute this morning. Now, there's a little bit of volume southbound 61, ramping on to 64 past Prospect. And we've got some moderate volume along northbound 270, mainly Jordy Ferry up through 64 and 55. We now have some slow-moving traffic, and it's just north of Broadway. So I'm not sure what's happening particularly in there. No report of it, whether it's a stall. So just be aware. And other than that, we've really looked good. Quiet on the bridges downtown if you're headed in from Illinois. I'm Sue Thomas with traffic on 97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis Conservative.
It's time for a $98 AC tune-up.
Honey, I found the one.
Oh, I thought I was the one.
Oh, you are, but this one's certified, background check, shows up on time, and can install all the ceiling fans.
Heating, cooling, electrical, and plumbing. Trusted pros who do it right.
Air Comfort Service, heating, cooling, and insulation. Weather.
It's a little cool going out the door first thing this morning, but overall partly sunny skies, and it's a nice day, though a little cool for this time of year. 73 for the high. Tonight, more and more clouds take over. Let's keep the evening rain-free. 57. Friday, an unsettled day with scattered showers and a couple of thunderstorms, but nothing strong or severe. 72 for the high on Friday. This is 97.1 FM Talk. Chief Meteorologist Dave Murray.
57 degrees and sunny downtown. Our time is 7:06. You can take the Marc Cox Morning Show with you wherever you go by downloading our free Odyssey app. But you can also catch us live every morning. We are on from 5 until 9 with our Window World webcam. We're on Facebook, YouTube, X, and Rumble.
The Marc Cox Morning Show is brought to you by Thomas Helbig and Bob Kershaw with the Retirement Advisory Group, retirementkey.com.
This is the Marc Cox Morning Show.
7:07. Dan Buck sitting in for Marc Cox on this Thursday morning. Mark's having a play day, not vacationing, not doing anything. He's just playing today. I'm not sure exactly what either, because he's like, nope, just a play day. Yeah, I'm like, okay, well, I'm happy to fill in. And I was up late last night. I had a baseball game till like 10:30. Got home about 11. Then wife wants to chit-chat. And I'm like, honey, got to go to bed. Sorry. So then 3 o'clock alarm clock. It's like...
Comes early.
It comes really early.
I had a late, not as late as you, but I had a late night as well. We had the Missouri Right to Life banquet with Riley Gaines as the keynote speaker.
Oh, it had to be awesome.
Fantastic. It was so interesting hearing someone who's helping the efforts here to pass Amendment 3. By the way, we should figure out by tomorrow if it's going on the August ballot or in the November ballot. That was the deadline that was set for Governor Kehoe to make a decision. And we were speaking with Lieutenant Governor Dave Wassinger, I guess it was earlier this week, and he had said that the governor, as of last week, was still wrestling on which one it should go on. And then it's not just Amendment 3, it's a number of other things that he has to decide on. But it was a fantastic night, and Missouri Right to Life, props to that organization, great cause, and they're working so hard to protect the babies, but to also protect the moms. You know, we hear so much about this narrative with protecting the babies, and obviously that's really what we want to do. But the left very much so cares about protecting the mom, and we should too. And so it's also about meeting them where they're at and making sure that, you know, we realize what their concerns are so we can speak to them saying, hey, Amendment 3 also protects the women. It protects the moms. It's not just about protecting the babies. It does that too, but it also is what's in the best interest of the mom.
There's such a lack of understanding and knowledge of the actual dangers of the procedures and what it means to the mother short-term and long-term. Yeah. And that is just not communicated. It's not shared with these women when they go in. That's a huge part of this bill too, is just they're going to be required to tell them the dangers and the risk and what this means, and also to explain the procedure, what it's going to do to your child.
Well, because a lot of these women go in and think they're told by these abortionists that the only option is abortion, and that if you were to have this child, it'd be traumatic. Well, I've never had an abortion, but I can only imagine that too would be very traumatic.
Yeah.
So you can either end a life and have trauma, or you can have a beautiful life, bless another family if you choose to go the abortion route, or raise the child and be blessed, because being a mom is incredible. Being a parent, I'm assuming you feel the same way as a father. I mean, I don't know anybody, maybe they're out there, I'm sure they're out there, but I don't personally know anybody who has had a baby, even if maybe it was scary when they found out and it wasn't planned, who has said, man, I really regret this. Usually you see people who say, man, I was so scared at the time, and what a blessing. This child has been the best thing that's ever happened to me.
Yeah, and I know many people who had abortions early in life and the regrets later in life, not at the time, because it did help them out of a particular difficult situation, but later they either had sterilization problems because of the procedure and couldn't either have children, or was very difficult, or after having children, they recognize what an incredible blessing and miracle that they were, and then they have the regrets and the anger and the pain from previously. And no one talks about that. No one talks about the mental anguish that abortion brings and scars people for decades, for their lifetime in some cases. So, yeah, I'm glad Amendment 3 is going to bring a lot of that to the forefront, and it's a yes this time on 3. It's going to be a little tricky, because last time we were no on Amendment 3 when they were trying to get this, abortion on demand bill, which did pass, and now
narrowly, I should mention. Even though we were outspent 6-1, it narrowly passed.
Yeah, so we're hoping that this time with better education. And what do you think? A November election better or an August election better?
I would probably choose November.
Yeah,
voter turnout is better. I know the concern is too long of a ballot, especially with IP reform and some of these other issues they're having to figure out. But
the confusion of so many topics at one time.
I guess, but what would you vote, August or November?
I'd go November too. Yeah. I just think we're going to get a better Republican turnout. We're going to have more people, focused on the issues in November, and this will obviously be one of the biggest ballot issues out there.
For sure.
For sure. So I dove a little deeper while you were in the news break there. Last hour, you brought up that Mayor Spencer is going to be having a press conference later today about the increases in the water rates due to the failing infrastructure. And, of course, she's trying to lobby to get the aldermen to appoint $100 million out of the Ram settlement money. I think she's just using this rate hike scare as a tactic to get them to give up the Rams money.
Definitely.
But guys, you got to understand what she's talking about in this rate hike, and this will scare anybody who lives in the city, or at least it should, especially if you're on a fixed income or on low income. Guys, she's proposing a 58% increase to water bills over the next 6 years. It's 18% in July, followed by 18% in January. So just in the first year, a 36% increase, if my math is right.
And then it goes up an additional 6%, 6%, 6%, and then 5%.
And 5%.
I believe is how I read it. Yeah.
So over 6 years, it's a total of a 58% increase. So, if you have a normal water bill of 50, and that'd be low for a consumer, it goes to 68 a month instead of 50. If you're doing the math on a 58% increase, that's massive to a family. And you start amortizing that out over 12 months, right? Now,
so if you have a $50 bill, then you'd be paying
68.
78.
78.
Yeah, 78.
28%. Yeah, it would be over the 6 years. I'm saying just in the first
Oh, okay.
year.
Yeah, just in the first year. I mean,
Year
it's
it would be
astronomical.
36%. I mean, that's alarming. So know that I think she's just doing this as a ploy to get them to take the chokehold off of the $100 million.
If you don't do this with the RAM settlement
this is
money,
what we're gonna
this
have
is what
to
will
do.
happen. Do you want to make the people pay this? Because this is what's necessary to protect our water infrastructure.
You just wrote her speech for 9:30 this morning when she gives her press conference.
Well, hey, anyone living in the city, how do you feel about that? Do you like it? Because everybody and their monkey's uncle's mom is moving the heck out of the city, and the census numbers just showed that the city policies suck based on not immigration, but based on the number of people who are moving out of
Migration,
here.
yeah.
Migration, thank you. It's very clear that whatever they're trying to do is not working. And you certainly can't blame all of it on their policies, but I would venture to say that has a lot to do with it.
No question. And I think that people who live in the city right now, they're getting hit three ways to Sunday. They're having increases to rent. They're having increases to their taxation. They're getting increases to their property taxes. Now you're going to hit them with a 58% water tax.
Come live in the city. It's amazing. Crime is completely under control. Our taxes are phenomenal. It's beautiful. It's a thriving downtown. What's not to love?
Your nose is growing as you talk, girl. I'm like, where's she going with? Oh, she's being sarcastic. I got it.
No, I was being very real.
You're very real. Yeah. Well, sometimes you get what you get. And Kara, I don't think is stupid enough to push this forward. All she's trying to do is scare taxpayers to all say, take the Rams money, don't take my money. Well, of course, the Rams money should have had an economic long-term impact.
And gone to police.
She wants it on everything. She wants to use the Rams money. And so, and again, she's going to be putting it towards things they're going to have continuous needs. There is a problem with the water and sewer system in the city of St. Louis. How many times do we have to report on water main break? Winter, whenever the winter hits, the fall to winter transition, we have water mains breaking all over the city. Well, this should have been dealt with by the city and the administration and the water department decades ago. They knew it was aging infrastructure. Now the alarm is sounding. Anyway, we got to get to that short list. Let's hit it.
The Marc Cox Shortlist, presented by Rhino Shield.
We'll talk about making the tax system more progressive. How about we start by having the nurse in Queens not pay taxes? Why is a nurse in Queens who makes $75,000 a year paying more than $1,000 a month in taxes?
Oh yeah, the $300 billion man, Jeff Bezos, telling half of America shouldn't pay any taxes whatsoever. Well, here's news for you, Jeff Bezos. 40% of Americans don't pay any federal income taxes. None. They don't pay a federal income tax. In fact, most of them are getting refunds. So take that. He says, it's only 3% of the 50% of the lower income. Why don't we just get rid of the 3%? Because that's what fair share is. Everyone needs to pay a little bit into a system that everybody benefits from.
I guess that's going to be up to the courts. I mean, every case is going to be done individually. I will say, people coming in the Capitol like they did was a challenging time for us. But again, people who are incorrectly and weaponized or attacked by the federal government do need compensation.
That's Representative Greg Murphy talking about the J6ers, whether they should be compensated. I say yes, those who were wrongfully accused or had to stay in jail way too long for misdemeanor charges.
We are fighting to show that Democrats and people who believe in democracy can fight back against an authoritarian regime that is doing everything in its power to create harm and chaos.
When's that woman going away? Stacey Abrams, former Georgia State representative, the failed governor candidate, but she just keeps hanging around.
I'm right now at 99% in Israel. I could run for prime minister, so maybe after I do this, I'll go to Israel, run for prime minister.
Oh, Trump. He just cracks me up. He's at 99% approval, he thinks, in Israel, so he's going to go there and be prime minister after he's president. Obviously tongue-in-cheek as he was saying that, but his approval rating in Iran, very high. His approval rating in Israel, very high. But here in the States, everybody keeps talking about how he's just tanking and how nobody's supporting him, here locally, even though he just had Massey thrown out. He just had, who was the other lawmaker, Bill Cassidy in Indiana, lost his election because Trump basically still has MAGA Nation backing him up. I mean, I think the fall of Donald Trump is greatly exaggerated. We're going to be back with more of the Marc Cox Morning Show. It's 7:18.
Traffic from the 97.1 FM Talk Traffic Center.
Well, it's been an okay commute this morning. In fact, pretty nice, of course, depending on where you are. But we just had a report of an accident northbound 141 at Hawkins, so be careful through there. And northbound 270, some slow pockets between 55 and 64. Now, 55, just some moderate volume at this hour, ramping on to northbound 270, and then it opens up. We've got 64 eastbound with some volume out at Prospect, and then it opens up. And 70, a little bit slow, headed for K, and then it looks good after that as well. Quiet on the Poplar Street Bridge, and 64 westbound is slowing at 159. Also on the Illinois side, there was a little bit of volume westbound 270 at Route 3, and then that opens up and looks good. This report brought to you by the fabulous people at the Diamond Shop. The Diamond Shop, making St. Louis sparkle for over 100 years. I'm Sue Thomas with traffic on 97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis Conservative.
Hey, talk about good decisions. I can give a lot of credit here to the Valley Park schools. They're working with the Wachter Construction and Rhino Shield. They just used Rhino Shield on the roof of their new administration building over there. They had to redo the roof. They wanted to make sure they had something that could stand up to the weather, give them that insulating factor. They found it in Rhino Shield. They do great commercial coatings. They do great residential coatings, and you're going to love what they do at Rhino Shield. I know I did as a homeowner. How many other products do you know of that will give you a quarter of a century guarantee? That's pretty much what they give you, a warranty that it's not going to chip, crack, or peel for the next 25 years. It is lab tested. It is beautifully durable, and I'm going to encourage you to give them a call today and get your free evaluation. Darren will be happy to do that for you. Tell him Mark sent you. 877-25-RHINO. Online at 877-25rhino.com.
I'm Ultima Morgan of Morgan & Morgan. Every time one of my children started driving, it was terrifying. Thousands of accidents happen across the country. We see it every day. If you've been injured in a car accident, call us.
Dial # law or visit forthepeople.com for an office near you.
Men, need a clinic that accepts all insurance, including Medicare? U.S. Men's Medical Center in St. Peters does. U.S. Men's helps men experiencing loss of energy, focus, concentration, and low libido, and they accept all insurance, even Medicare, for testosterone replacement therapy. Patients love the staff and the fact that, yes, I'm going to say it again, they accept all insurance, including Medicare. Feel better? Call U.S. Men's Medical Center at 636-244-5333.
A common question I receive is, how is the market right now? It just seems so volatile. Hi, I'm Christina Straight, owner of Straight Realty. If you want to buy or sell but feel overwhelmed by the whiplash of the market, then let's talk. With over 23 years as a broker, I have the exact experience you need to help you navigate this tricky market. Call me at 314-441-4444. 314-441, all fours. And remember, why pay more than two?
Commissions are not regulated and are negotiable. Straight Realty is a licensed broker in the state of Missouri.
The Cards, the Pirates.
Siteman Cancer Center game time 12:15. Play ball. Siteman Cancer Center, national leader in cancer.
The home of the Cardinals. 104.1 FM KMOX.
It's 7:22. This time check is brought to you by Paramount Men's Medical Center. We're getting ready to talk to former Senator Jim Talent. He's coming up next.
Marc Cox is St. Louis conservative.
And I'm in no hurry. You never think, oh, the midterms, I'm in a hurry. I'm in no hurry. Ideally, I'd like to see few people killed as opposed to a lot. We can do it either way, but I'd like to see few people killed. I just wonder whether or not they have the good of the people, because some of the things they're doing to me means they don't have the good of the people, and they have to have the good of the people.
Oh, yeah. It's time for the one, the only Jim Talent, former U.S. Senator of Missouri, and a guy who I love hearing your input on the Iran conflict, Senator, that you just give insights that I often don't hear other places. Good morning. How are you, sir?
Well, thank you, Dan. That's a high compliment, and I'm doing fine.
So Iran, obviously, we got the pause. The president says he was 1 hour away from resuming the military action against the nation, and he's given them a little bit more time. When will the patience run out?
Pretty soon, based on what the president said. I mean, the logical next step in this, having hit them militarily, and now we're throttling the economy. So the logical next step is to hit them again, and I think with a focus on targets that are going to make it easier to open up the strait. And then I think we will proceed to open up the strait while continuing to blockade Iran. And I think that'll pretty much be checkmate. So the question in my mind is why we haven't done it to this point, even though we started doing it about 10 days ago. And I think the reason is it's not that we can't do it. The Iranians can't force the blockade or threaten our ships. It's the concern of the Gulf states that they will launch the missiles they have left at their critical infrastructure. Now, like their desalinization plants. So we can defend them. They have some defenses themselves. The Israelis can help, but there is a risk. And I think that's why the president, it's coalition management. I think he's deferring to them and seeing if they can get a negotiated solution.
I hate to even bring it up, but the potential of a war on two fronts. I see that the Nimitz is now in the Caribbean and the Cuban conflict. Yesterday, the indictments came down against, Raul Fidel Castro's brother that, called for the strike. The fact that we have these dual conflicts now kind of rising, is that concerning in terms of our military assets being kind of stretched in two different hemispheres?
Well, Dan, it would be if it developed into something, I use the word kinetic, but I can never think of, anything better because the Navy is too small, really. But I don't think that's what we have in mind in Cuba. I think, again, we're using economic power, which over the 6 years or almost 5.5 years of the Trump presidency has been his preferred tool. It's very effective. So, they're out of electricity and fuel. I mean, they're literally out of it, basically. And so I think we're using that, and then carrots and sticks. So Ratcliffe goes down there, talks with their intel people, stirring up fractalization within the regime. And at the same time, we're undermining them. I mean, I don't know if you saw Rubio's speech to the Cuban people.
I did.
So, that's the idea, is to keep pressuring them to get the regime or elements in the regime to realign with us as it happened in Venezuela. So I'm not looking, unless they were to attack our ships, I'm not looking for us. I don't think it's likely we're going to do anything militarily there.
Jim, I brought this up yesterday. Maybe you have some good insight. But, Trump has said, hey, if we were to pull out our troops right now, we've already won in this conflict, this war, whatever you want to call it, with Iran. Does the statement like that in any way hurt him when he's trying to justify keeping troops there? Because that's what when you talk about patience running thin at some point with higher gas prices and things like that. Yeah. Because I am frustrated with the gas prices, but I can also understand why we need to stay in Iran. But if we've already won, what's the harm then in pulling back?
Well, we could. We've won in the sense that the military goal was to very severely degrade. I mean, I like to use the word destroy because I think we basically have their military capabilities. The problem here is not troops in the region. The problem is the risk they have posed to the threat, to the strait, has driven up gas prices, which is inflicting pain on us. So the answer to that is to open up the strait. And that's why we started Operation Freedom 10 days ago. And as I said, I think the reason we pulled back and the reason we haven't done it to this point is because it's out of deference to our partners in the Gulf, the UAE especially, but also the Saudis, because they're worried about an attack on their infrastructure. I mean, I have to tell you, they're going to have to put their big boy pants on because they're the ones who are most concerned about Iran threatening the strait. And if they want us to deal with it, and we can deal with it, they're going to have to accept some risk. I mean, and at some point, I'm certain Trump has told them that, and they've probably said, okay, but give us one last chance. And that's what's happening now. Kim, once we get the strait open and oil prices start to go down, I think the concern people have about our presence in the Middle East to go way down.
Always great insight, Jim Talent. Where can people get more information and see what you're up to these days?
At Jim Talent's the Twitter handle, although I don't tweet a lot, and then I write on National Review. So I'll let you know when I have a column up.
Fantastic. Appreciate you joining us this morning, buddy. Have a great Memorial Day. It's 7:28 on the Marc Cox Morning Show. Back with more.
Hello, 4th of July.
Back-to-back Jack! Kerry Robinson, a hero tonight!
The Cubs visit St. Louis May 29th through the 31st for a weekend of baseball's best rivalry at Busch Stadium. The history is real. The fans are loud, and the energy in the ballpark is unmatched. Day or night, every pitch matters when these two meet. So get ready, Cardinals fans. This is what summer baseball in St. Louis is all about. Get your tickets at cardinals.com/tickets.
The weekend starts at Busch Stadium. Grab your crew and kick it off at Friday Night Live. Every Friday night home game, Budweiser Terrace turns into the hottest happy hour in the Louvre. With $5 beers, $5 hot dogs, $7 margaritas, live music, and more all game long. Meet up with friends, soak in the energy, and keep the night going with baseball under the lights. Good vibes, great deals, your new Friday tradition. Get tickets now at cardinals.com.
Hey, it's Mark Reardon with Stewie from Stewart's American Mortgage. We are in the 6th hottest real estate market in the country, Stewie. What can buyers in St. Louis do to gain that advantage with you?
You know what, Mark? It's real simple. Number one, the Bagel loan. Bagel looks like a zero, easy to remember. No closing costs, no title fees, no lender fees, no appraisal fees. The Big Bagel looks like a zero, easy to remember. Take that money you're saving, add it to the bid, beat all the other offers out. Number two, we give you the power of the pre-approval letter. What does that mean? We pre-approve you for the maximum amount that you qualify for. You can then go into our portal and edit the letter and raise it or lower it to any amount you want up to the amount you pre-approved. No waiting for the loan officer, no waiting for anybody else. It's all in your hands. And the third thing, we can close in 10 days. That's a big deal. If you go to the seller and say, hey, here's my offer. It may not be the best, but we can close quick. Everybody else is 30 days out. You know it's going to happen quickly with our reputation. Big bam boom, you got the house of your dreams.
Call or text Stewie at 314-324-4440 or Google the Bagel Loan. NMLS number 226715.
Traffic from the 97.1 FM Talk Traffic Center.
Good morning to you. Not a bad commute today. We're kind of on the cusp of summer as far as the commute goes. And we look good through North County. Now, there was an accident reported near West Florissant, but it's off on the shoulder. It's not causing a delay. There's a little bit of a sunshine slowdown on eastbound 70, Lake St. Louis Boulevard through about K, and then a little bit at 141. Now, southbound 61 has some volume ramping on to 64, but then things open up there. A little bit of moderate volume at Timberlake Manor. And westbound slows Clayton Skinker through the inner belt. We've got northbound 270 with slow pockets anywhere from 55 through Ladue Road. And if you are on 55, it's so much better. It's just a little slow at Bayless this morning, nothing big. And if you're headed in from Illinois, there's some volume for the length of the Poplar Street Bridge. I'm Sue Thomas with traffic on 97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis Conservative.
Sponsored by Gloria Liu with your home sold guaranteed realty, 314-325-6888.
Need to sell your home and you want the most money? The name to remember is Gloria Lou. Yes, Gloria Lou with your home sold guaranteed realty at 314-325-6888 and start packing.
What if every time you spent money, you saved money too? With Achieve It Checking from Together Credit Union, you can do just that. Every debit card purchase is rounded up to the nearest dollar, and the spare change goes right into your savings. And here's the best part. Together Credit Union boosts your progress by matching qualifying savings, up to $8 a month. It's a free checking account that helps you achieve more automatically. Learn more, or better yet, enroll today at togethercu.org. Together Credit Union, federally insured by NCUA.
When you're hiring, have you ever felt like you're missing out on meeting truly great candidates for your roles? It seems impossible to find them, but they have to be out there somewhere, right? Well, they're not hard to find when you know where to go, and that place is ZipRecruiter. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter helps 10 million people with their job search every day. And because these people are actively looking for jobs just like yours, it's easy to find the right person right away. In fact, 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. But if you're not using ZipRecruiter, you're missing out. So see what it's like when the impossible is easy. When you go to ZipRecruiter.com/radio right now to try ZipRecruiter for free. Once again, that's ZipRecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter.com/radio. Never miss out on great candidates with ZipRecruiter.
According to MasterCard, nearly half of small businesses have been a victim of a cyber attack. As cybercrime escalates, ThrottleNet is calling on businesses to strengthen their security posture by taking a free online IT security audit right from your desk. This 3-minute online assessment provides an immediate score to see security gaps and vulnerabilities in your network. For 26 years, ThrottleNet has supported your business IT everything right here in St. Louis. In fact, no client of ThrottleNet has ever paid a ransom. So visit ThrottleNet.com/971 to take the free assessment today.
From Alton to Wildwood, 97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis Conservative.
Everywhere you turn, it's costing you more money, whether it be at the gas pump. We talked earlier about the insurance premiums that have been skyrocketing, but not just in the car insurance industry, but also healthcare insurance programs and policies have also been going up by big strides. If you've been paying your healthcare premiums lately, you're going to see that not only does your coverage seem to get worse and worse sometimes, but the premiums keep going up and up. We decided to get Marc Denzler, the president and CEO of the Illinois Manufacturers Association, who directly deals with some of these healthcare issues, and a big issue that is going on in Illinois as the state lawmakers there are trying to do some legislation that affects the federal 340B drug pricing program. Good morning, sir. How are you? Mark?
Hey, good morning, Dan. Thanks for having me.
So you're kind of on the ground. You've got a great employer perspective here. Kind of walk us through what's going on at the state level, where there's a much broader issue here, is there not, on this cost of some of the insurance and patient cost?
There is. So the program's called 340B, which is very well intended when it was created in 1992 to help low-income patients and uninsured patients get life-saving medicines. And the way it works, is it allows hospitals and clinics to buy drugs at a discount. They bill the insurer the full price, and then the difference supports charity care. What's happened is program's been hijacked. It's grown from $1 billion to now more than $65 billion. And it's the state's largest and richest hospitals that are driving the expansion. And it's not the safety net hospitals and the rural clinics that really serve the most vulnerable. And when you look at it from the business perspective, employers are losing about $225 million annually in these rebates and savings. State and local governments are losing tens of millions of dollars. And that shows up in higher premiums and higher deductibles and higher out-of-pocket costs for patients. So you and me and the listeners are paying higher costs while these very wealthy hospitals are taking advantage of this program.
And the hospitals always like to say, oh, we're on your side. It's hospitals against the drug companies. But really this is a co-op cartel going on, right? I mean, they're basically working together at low pricing and then billing the insurer, which, people say, oh, it's just my insurance company paying. No, you're paying for it through your premiums. It's like a lie, a great lie they've been telling us that the hospitals are at the mercy of the high cost of drug bills. No, they're not. They're working together.
Absolutely. And the hospitals are here trying to pass legislation that would expand 340B and reinforce the current problems. We're asking the governor and legislators to step back and do an audit and add some sunshine and transparency. Then we saw this in Minnesota, and the results were stunning about what's happening. And again, the program very well intended. We should help the low income and the rural hospitals and the folks that can't afford it. But we shouldn't be subsidizing these really wealthy hospitals located in Chicago. There needs to be some transparency, but that we talk about affordability, gas prices and grocery prices, and the healthcare costs are being shifted again onto employers and taxpayers and the state and local governments through these higher healthcare costs.
Well, and CMS, with the central management services over in Illinois, I mean, they're warning it could increase employer-sponsored healthcare programs by $89 million a year. I mean, that is significant when you're talking about, who pays that? The taxpayer, right? When these are in large cases, many of these are employer-sponsored. But when you're talking about employers, you're also talking about all the state employees that we've got to cover, correct?
Yeah, absolutely. And since 2000, premiums for small employers have skyrocketed 120%.
Wow.
And 98% of business owners, small business owners, worry about, they want to provide health care coverage for their employees. It's important to attract and retain good employees. But when your premiums are going up 120%, that makes it difficult for small businesses, and they have to make that decision. Can I hire a new employee, or can I give a raise to my workforce, or buy that new piece of equipment? It's all because these big, wealthy hospitals are abusing the program.
I know you're focusing, Mark, on Illinois. You'd mentioned a couple of other states where this is happening, but do you have any idea in Missouri the degree to which this is happening?
This is happening. It's a great question. This is happening around the country. When I say the cost jumped from $1 billion to $65 billion, again, that's a national number. So we're seeing the same abuses, in Missouri and Arkansas and Kansas and Illinois. And we saw blue Minnesota, Democrat state, Democrat governor. They insisted on accountability and transparency. And we're saying the same thing should happen in Illinois. The same thing should happen in Missouri, because these numbers are eye-popping. And again, it's your listeners that are paying more for it, and it's a hidden cost that they just don't see on their bill.
Well, at this federal program, the 340B that you referred to, which is allowing these hospitals and clinics to kind of buy the outpatient drugs, right, at really steep discounts, and then they bill the insurers at the higher negotiated rates that they have for all patients, even though this is supposed to be kind of targeting low-income people, right? It was supposed to keep costs. It was targeted to keep costs down, in other words. But the cost
is having the opposite effect.
The hospitals are getting the low costs because of the program. Yeah. But then they're turning around and
pocketing it.
They're making billions on the taxpayer-funded lower cost premiums. Correct?
They are, and again, the intent of the program is great to help the low income and rural areas that can't afford their medicines. But there's no transparency. And when you look at charity care, it's only about 2.1% of total operating costs. So they're making billions and billions of dollars, but we're not seeing the same increases in the charity care. So helping the low incomes and the rural health care clinics and the safety net hospitals that are taking care of the most vulnerable in our country, we're not seeing them reap the benefits of the program. We're seeing it go to the wealthy hospitals.
So while state lawmakers are trying to, manage this, they know it's a major budget issue to them as their insurance premiums for state employees go up. And in your case, the Manufacturers Association, you're having all of these employers, right, who are struggling as well. But can't this be dealt with at the federal level to make sure these abuses of the 340B program aren't happening?
Absolutely, and we're all working at the federal level as well. At this point, it's hard to get things done in Washington, D.C., as we know. And the hospitals, what they've seen is they've seen pushback by the states So they're trying to go lock these in to states, which is why they're coming to Illinois with legislation that would expand 340B and would really lock in the current problems, before changes are made to the program federally.
And is it only on the drug side, the 340B program, or does it also extend out to surgical services and supplies? Because they overbill for that stuff too, right? They don't just charge cost; they charge cost plus 200% in some cases.
Yeah, this is the 340B is a drug pricing program. It doesn't deal with the other, medical supplies that you may get into a hospital. This is exclusively on the pharmaceuticals, the life-saving medicines that, quite frankly, everybody needs to make sure they stay healthy.
Gotcha. Well, what's the next step? Will the Illinois lawmakers, which aren't known for, being innovatively creative and trying to control cost, that's why they're in the predicament they are in statewide. But do you think they can come up with any proposals at the state level to rein this in?
Well, we need legislators to say no to the big wealthy hospitals and stop what they're trying to do about locking these extreme abuses into the system. That's the first thing. And then second, we need them to do an audit. We need transparency and sunshine to show where the money's really going, because, the hospitals are not opening their books and saying, hey, we're taking this money and spending it on charity care. So the two things that listeners should do is call their lawmakers in Illinois and tell them vote no against the wealthy hospitals and their abuses. And then number two, vote for transparency. And let's conduct an audit and actually see what hospitals are using this properly and which ones are not.
Awesome. That's Marc Denzler, President and CEO of the Illinois Manufacturers Association. Appreciate you joining us this morning.
Thanks, guys. Have a great day.
Yeah. The abuses in the hospital medical world, I mean, I worked at a place, I won't give away where it was, but their initials are SSM, and oh, I'm sorry, but it's unbelievable of how they do their billings to maximize profits. In other words, holding somebody who's an asthma case in the emergency room for more than 24 hours, because then they can get an inpatient room billing, which is astronomical amount of money. And that's just one of hundreds of ways that they bilk the system.
Certainly, a lot of industries milk the system. Okay, I'm not just exclusively saying that the medical field's doing it, because I do put a lot of pressure on the medical industry, because I have seen a lot of issues like this where, for example, you have a test done and they say you need to actually come for an initial checkup, and then you're going to come back 2 weeks later for a separate appointment. That separate appointment could be done in 5 minutes, and you know darn well that they could do it, but because of billing purposes, in order to bill the insurance company 2 times for 2 separate appointments, they have to force you to make a separate trip. You got to bring all your kids back there.
You can't do it telemedicine either, because it's not in face to face. Pays more.
You can do an abortion like that. No worries. You can get mifepristone that way. No problem. Yeah, let's do telehealth. No in-person doctor appointment for that. But for your stupid stuffy nose, your whatever it is, you have to come in twice, and it irks me. And I've also heard. I'm not saying this is 100%, but let's just say you're not going through insurance and you're paying out of pocket, that you can get a very steep discount from the hospital if you're doing that. Versus if they're billing it to insurance, they're going to jack up that amount because they know that they're more likely to get it because it's your insurance. Your insurance company that's paying for it. It's frustrating. And then, for example, like let's say that you're being held at the hospital and they're saying that you need to stay, and you say, well, I'm leaving. And they make you sign that AMA, which is against medical advice, that you're discharging yourself essentially. Well, then that could impact your insurance coverage.
That's
well,
right.
Who's to say, I'm not saying all doctors are doing this or even that a lot of them are doing it, but who's to say that a doctor wouldn't, I don't know, maybe hold you there a little longer just because maybe there's a little concern, but it's really not that big of an issue if you went home, but they're able to hold you there another day to bill.
Or how about the over-testing? How about when they run you through a battery of tests and imaging, right? Yeah. When you're like, dude, I came in with, a headache.
We need to do an MRI. We need to do a CT scan. I mean, sometimes you do need
rack
those.
Up the
but
bills
I know.
because they know you're insured and they can hammer your insurance company. But that's not free. Everybody who has insurance go, well, my insurance is covering it. No, they're not. They're just the intermediary who's paying the bill now. You're going to pay it over time because your insurance premiums are going to continue to go up every time you're overbilled. It's unbelievable. All right, we got a lot more to cover. 7:46 on the Marc Cox Morning Show. Thanks for letting us be a part of your Thursday morning.
Traffic from the 97.1 FM Talk Traffic Center.
was an accident westbound 270, really close to West Florissant, and they're saying that one is on the shoulder. There's a little bit of a slowdown in that area. Eastbound 70, Sunshine slowdown, anywhere from Highway A to Bryan Road, and then things open up. 64, a little slow out at Prospect and at Clarkson and at Lindbergh, but this is all pockets of moderate volume. Westbound lines up from Hampton out through Hanley. And we've got northbound 270 with mainly moderate volume, some heavier pockets, but it stretches from 21 through Ladue Road. Southbound is slowing at Ladue Road as well. And northbound 141 is slow approaching 64 at this hour. 55 looks great. If you're Fred Bottomer, you have a great commute this morning through there. And things look good on eastbound. Well, actually, it is eastbound 64, but it's on the Illinois side. A little slow there, headed for 157 in the construction zone. And westbound traffic slow on the Poplar Street Bridge. I'm Sue Thomas with traffic on 97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis Conservative.
The new Haverty's Furniture Showroom is now open in Gravois Bluffs. Come visit us now. Ready to refresh your space with furniture that's built to last? The new Haverty's Furniture Showroom is now open in Fenton and Gravois Bluffs. Experience Haverty's regret-free guarantee for yourself and shop the latest in living rooms, bedrooms, and more. Visit Haverty's now in Gravois Bluffs.
Hey, St. Louis, this is Brian Kilmeade. You know, I always have a great time when I visit you guys, and I'm coming back this November. So join me, Brian Kilmeade, by getting tickets for the show at The Factory at 971talk.com/events.
We talk about this a lot, but what are you planning to do when you retire? How old are you? In the 50s, in your early 60s? You've got a date in mind for that retirement. Maybe it's already here. What are you doing to protect the nest egg that you've set aside for retirement? You know, a couple of minor fluctuations in the market, and suddenly your income goes down. Nobody has got time for that. So call the Retirement Advisory Group, set up an appointment with them. They're going to meet with you for free, and they're going to tell you exactly what you need to do to protect your money. They can teach you how to set up a personalized, structured income plan. So you've got your Social Security over here. If you're lucky, you've got your pension over here, and then you've got your own structured income plan with that nest egg that's going to make sure it lasts as long as you do. 314-993-9494. Again, they'll sit down with you for free. Tell my friends Bob Kershaw and Tammy Kershaw that I told you to call. You can go online anytime to retirementkey.com.
Don't let tax refund worries hold you back. File now with TurboTax on Intuit Credit Karma. They'll find every credit and deduction to help you get every refund dollar you deserve, or your money back. Start filing today in the Credit Karma app.
Why do the national tax resolution firms need the tiny fine print at the bottom of all their TV ads? Hi, this is Lance Story with the Lance Story Law Firm. You don't hear fast-talking disclaimers in our ads because the claims we make are 100% transparent. The Lance Story Law Firm primarily focuses on one thing, IRS problems, and we're regulated by the Bar Association, and we have a AAA rating with the Better Business Bureau. IRS issues are serious legal issues. The Lance Story Law Firm has helped thousands of clients navigate the best resolution plans, and we tell you up front exactly how much it'll cost. Tax resolution law is all we do. So before you send money to some out-of-town, high-pressure salesperson, give us a call at the Lance Story Law Firm, located right here in St. Louis. Call today to schedule your free consultation with me, 314-260-6120, or visit LanceDruryLaw.com.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements.
License number GL250000615.
Hey, Dad, what causes drains to clog?
Grease, hair, soap scum, and tree roots.
Tree roots?
This town has old pipes and big trees. They find each other.
They grow inside pipes?
They bust into pipes.
Whoa.
Once they're in, the water stops flowing.
Can we fix it?
The big green grasser machine can fix any clog.
Green is always grasser at grasserhomeservices.com.
Hey, St. Louis, need to sell your home fast? The Gelman team with eXp Realty can make you an instant cash offer in just 24 hours. No showings, no repairs, no waiting, no drama. Visit thegelmanteam.com to see what your home could sell for fast. Or give the Gelman team a call at 314-336-1991.
Marc Cox is St. Louis conservative. Kim on a whim.
Prepare to potentially have to pay more when you go to check out if you're using cash.
Pay more.
Pay more. Or less.
Or
less.
less.
It depends. It depends on what the total purchase price ends with.
Is this due to the pennies going away?
It is. So you
Okay.
might remember that back in, it was November rather of 2025, the U.S. federal government officially stopped producing pennies. It ended the coin's 232-year run. And they're saying it's because it costs roughly 3.7 cents in order to produce a 1 cent coin. So they're saying we're losing money on this. It doesn't make sense. We're phasing it out. So that's already been in the works.
Yeah.
Well, now states are having to figure out, well, we can't tell people they can't pay with cash. They're still going to have pennies for quite some time. So what do we do about this? So essentially what happened was Missouri lawmakers passed a bill this session that established these new rules for cash purchases, whether they're rounded up or rounded down. Now, Governor Kehoe has not yet signed this, though I'm sure he will. But essentially, here's what would happen. It would be rounded up or rounded down to the nearest 5 cents.
Yeah.
This bill they passed, and keep in mind, this is only cash transactions, actual cash. It does not apply to credit or debit cards. So if the total ends in you won't remember this, but let me just tell you. If the total ends in a 1, 2, 6, or 7, so like you're paying, $5.32 is the cost of something. It'll round down to the the nearest 5 cents. If it ends in a 3, 4, 8, or 9, it rounds up. So I'm just envisioning then these businesses that would make sure that all their prices are then, $5.99, $6.99, because they can then round everything up. So next time, as you go shopping and you look at these prices, I will be curious to see if you see more of them ending in those numbers I mentioned, 3, 4, 8, or 9, so they can round up. I mean, it's 5 cents, but still, I mean, you get
pennies,
that adds up once you have
thousand transactions. It turns into hundreds of dollars.
Yeah, and I can't blame them. I mean, if this is where we're at, where they have to round up or round down, I can't say that I like it, even though I get it. Again, it's only 5 cents, and I don't. Here's the thing, though: who pays with cash?
I do.
Really?
I mean, occasionally, certain things. I like buying restaurants with food, because I like to tip in cash, so that it isn't traceable for the poor person, right?
So you do it for that reason more so than...
Well, now that there's no tax on tips, it's not as big of an issue. I always felt tax on tips was absolute double taxation. I've already been taxed on that money and that income and I'm spending, and I'm making a collective choice to give money to somebody else because they're nice and because they did a good job. That shouldn't be a taxable. That's a service. That's not a product. There should never have been a tax on tips. That person should have been able to collect it, and I knew if I paid with that meal for a credit card, that it was 100% traceable, and the company was going to have to take it out of nightly proceeds and give them money that was going to have to be traced. I knew if I gave them cash, they would be able to put it in their pocket and take it home, and that was their money. Right?
Well, theoretically, I guess they should be reporting it, but you're trying to say this is not. You can't trace it as easily as a credit card transaction. So, yes, absolutely.
So anyway, that was my logic. Mm-hmm. Now, because Trump has gotten rid of tax on tips, it's not as big of an issue. But that's why I did it.
Well, I mean, with the Dave Ramsey method, we've loosely followed that, but I believe he has suggested that people put cash into different envelopes, and that it does make you more aware of how much you're spending when you have to hand the cash over rather than just swiping a card. And
way more aware.
And not to point out the people who are older, but I do feel like the older generation tends to want to pay with cash versus my generation, the millennials. We like to, in fact,
you want to use your phone.
No, actually, I don't have the phone app, but I have screwed myself over on multiple occasions where I run out the door and maybe I forgot to grab my debit because I had to move it somewhere else, and that doesn't happen often. But it would be nice sometimes to have it on my phone. But for whatever reason, I get freaked out of having on Apple Pay, I guess is what it's called, right?
Right. And I also have a kind of a personal fear that we would become a cashless society, because that's where the government would be able to control everything in your life if they can control your money, and everything is done electronically. That's another reason why I figured if I'm a user of cash and there's enough people still using cash, they can't get rid of it. That was another justification for using more cash. It's 7:56. Marc Cox Morning Show coming up next hour. Shannon Bream. And you got a good topic. What did you want to talk to Shannon about? Do you remember?
The anti-weaponization fund.
Yes. We'll talk about that and whether J6ers should get some of that money. Right here on the Marc Cox Morning Show. Thanks for letting us be a part of your Thursday.
If you're considering an annuity as part of your retirement plan, we need to talk. Hi, I'm Bob Stockdale, Senior Vice President Investments with the ClearPath Wealth Management Group at Stifel and host of On the Money Saturday mornings at 11 on 97.1 FM Talk. Annuities can be a useful tool for some retirement investors, but not all annuities are created equal. Every week, we meet clients who own complex annuities that don't suit their needs and, in some cases, actively undermine their retirement plan. Before you purchase an annuity, get a second opinion from the ClearPath Wealth Management Group at Stifel. Requesting a consultation is free of charge. To request a free consultation, contact us at clearpathinvesting.com. That's clearpathinvesting.com, or call us at 636-695-2650. That's clearpathinvesting.com or 636-695-2650. Stifel Nicholas and Company Incorporated, member NYSE and SIPC.
Step outside and fall in love with your backyard again. From inviting porch overhangs to durable composite decks and cozy screen rooms, Lakeside Renovation and Design creates stunning outdoor living spaces designed for relaxation, entertaining, and making memories. With expert craftsmanship and top-quality materials, your new outdoor oasis will be perfect for every season. Call Lakeside Renovation and Design today or visit lakesiderd.com to get started. Let's turn your backyard into the retreat you've always dreamed of.
Men, if you're suffering from erectile dysfunction or PE, you're not alone. Most importantly, you don't have to live with it. Paramount Men's Medical Center restores men's sex lives in just one visit. Their painless breakthrough treatments eliminate ED and PE, even when Viagra and Cialis don't work. Here's Dr. Simovitz, specialist in men's health.
Paramount Men's Medical Center's painless breakthrough treatments eliminate ED and PE, regardless of age or medical history. 98% of patients see instant results right in the office.
Men are now lasting longer than they ever imagined. And the best part, at Paramount Men's Medical Center, your consultation and first treatment are free. Qualified patients even get their testosterone checked free. Call 314-887-4333. 314-887-4333. Take control of your sex life. Call now. 314-887-4333.
As veterans, we're no strangers to helping others.
That's what we were taught, service before self.
But we do have one question for the veterans listening.
When was the last time you reached out for help?
If you or someone you know needs resources, whether it's for stress, finances, employment, or mental health, don't wait. Reach out.
Find more information at va.gov/reach. That's va.gov/reach.
Brought to you by the United States Department of Veterans Affairs and the Ad Council.
KFTK FM Florissant from the Kaufman Townsley St. Louis's Injury Lawyers Studio. Call 314-777-7777.
That's 314-777-7777.
Iran is taking a hard line that may cross President Trump's red line. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News. The Supreme Leader reportedly unwilling to give up what the president calls nuclear dust. Days after the U.S. paused a plan to resume bombing Iran, trying to work out a deal.
What should happen to Iran's stockpile of highly enriched uranium is one of the most contentious issues at the heart of negotiations to end the war. Reuters says Iran's Supreme Leader Ayatollah Mojtaba Khamenei has issued a directive that the near weapons-grade material must stay inside the country. The United States has been pushing for the uranium to be confiscated, with Israel's Prime Minister vowing to continue to fight until that happens.
Fox's Jonathan Savage. Officials at the White House are pushing back, saying that Reuters report on the uranium is not true. Another vote expected today in the House, and maybe the Senate too, as Democrats keep trying to pass a war powers resolution to limit the president in Iran. Several attempts have failed so far. A Fox News poll shows 60% of Americans oppose military action against Iran. Half say surging gas prices are a major problem. Only 39% approve of the overall job the president is doing.
The polling also found 30% think the assassination attempt of the president at last month's White House Correspondents' Dinner was staged, with younger voters far more likely to be suspicious than seniors and white evangelicals.
Fox's Jessica Rosenthal, a former assistant U.S. attorney in Florida, facing charges related to special counsel Jack Smith, who led two Trump investigations, dropped after the former president was elected again. Carmen Lineberger is
charged with stealing confidential documents from the probe.
This individual allegedly emailed a copy of them to her personal account, disguising it as a recipe for bundt cake. That she is now charged with 4 felony counts, adding, quote, "This FBI will not hesitate to bring to account those who violated the trust of the American public."
I guess Fox's Carly Shimkus. America's listening to Fox News.
Here's a tale of Becky. Didn't know what to do with new meds prescribed and no real cost clue.
She squinted at prices, that can't be right. Then tapped GoodRx and saw the light.
She can get a deal. Book telehealth if she feels.
Learn about those meds without any stress. That one little app does all the rest. Even my horse downloaded it. Dang, save time and money on prescriptions.
Check GoodRx. GoodRx is not insurance.
Lots of places can expose you to identity theft.
Oh no.
That's why LifeLock monitors hundreds of millions of data points a second for threats to your identity, which is way more than anyone can do on their own. If we find anything suspicious, like new loans or changes to your financial accounts, we alert you right away, all through text, phone, email, or the LifeLock app. Get the alerts that could make all the difference. Save up to 30% with promo code NEWS at lifelock.com. Terms apply.
Hard to beat this weather. It is sunny here downtown, 57 degrees, so a little chillier. Our time is 8:03. I'm Kim St. for 97.1 FM Talk. Google has announced plans to bring a $15 billion data center here to Missouri. The company plans to build that data center in New Florence. That's about 20 miles west of Warrenton. The plan is for it to go into an already approved $35 billion data center run by Amazon. Now, Google will have to pay 100% of its energy costs, as well as cover any sort of new infrastructure costs that are directly driven by its operations. An off-duty New Baden police officer has died after being hit by a car in Clinton County, Illinois. This happened Tuesday, just before midnight. Police identified the officer who was hit as 59-year-old Dave Jordan. He started his law enforcement career in Belleville. He then worked with Trenton Police and then transferred to the New Baden Police Department more than a decade ago. No word on any charges related to the crash. That viral tarps off trend has become so popular. Listen to this. Busch Stadium has now made an official section for fans to take off their shirts. The tarps off fan section is in the upper right field bleachers. That trend started, as you might remember, when a Texas baseball team got hundreds of people at Busch Stadium to wave their shirts above their heads like a rally towel. Now ballparks across the country are joining in on this trend. This has been really cool to see. So the ballparks in Detroit, Philadelphia, and Tampa have all been doing the same thing. Speaking of the Cards, unfortunately, they were shut out by the Pirates yesterday. It was ugly. Final score 7-0. They'll wrap up that series with a day game today. First pitch at Busch Stadium, 12:15. We're at 57 degrees now, coming up on 8:05. I'm Kim St. for 97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis Conservative.
Traffic from the 97.1 FM Talk Traffic Center.
On the roads this morning, it hasn't been bad, but if you are headed out on eastbound 70, there's a little bit of volume, just moderate. Lake St. Louis Boulevard to just about K and a little bit at 141. 64, moderate volume at Prospect. And then it really doesn't slow again until about McKnight through Big Bend, with westbound slowing approaching Clayton Skinker through Hanley. We've got northbound 270 with moderate volume as well. And that is from 44 up through Ladue Road. Eastbound 44. There was an accident reported before you get to Kings Highway, so expect a slow go there. 55 is starting to slow, but it's further north than usual, so right around Broadway. And if you're headed in from Illinois, look for a little bit of volume westbound on the Poplar Street Bridge. This report brought to you by McKelvey Homes. I'm Sue Thomas with traffic on 97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis Conservative.
McKelvey Homes is breaking ground on something new in O'Fallon, Strawberry Farms. When McKelvey builds something, they do it right. Visit McKelvey Homes to schedule a tour at Strawberry Farms in O'Fallon. Visit McKelveyHomes.com today and move up to McKelvey.
Air Comfort Service, heating, cooling, and insulation. Weather.
It's a little cool going out the door first thing this morning, but overall partly sunny skies, and it's a nice day, though a little cool for this time of year. 73 for the high. Tonight, more and more clouds take over. Let's keep the evening rain-free. 57. Friday, an unsettled day with scattered showers and a couple of thunderstorms, but nothing strong or severe. 72 for the high on Friday. This is 97.1 FM Talk. Chief Meteorologist Hey, Murray.
Sunny and 57 degrees downtown just before 8:07. You can listen to the Marc Cox Morning Show anytime or from anywhere on our free Odyssey app.
The Marc Cox Morning Show is brought to you by Thomas Helbig and Bob Kershaw with the Retirement Advisory Group, retirementkey.com.
This is the Marc Cox Morning Show.
It's 8:07. We're an hour and a half away from the mayor of St. Louis announcing the plan for a 58% tax increase or a rate increase for water in the city if the aldermen and the city council does not agree to give $100 million of Rams money to that program. And I'm dismayed that they would even propose such an increase.
It's just a scare tactic to convince the Board of Aldermen to agree to this. Because what's interesting, too, is months and months ago, they were doing these surveys from St. Louis residents asking them where they would like to see the money spent. And none of you should be surprised that no one, to my knowledge, said anything about police, even though they complain about crime. Would be too logical to say we should probably spend some on policing. But no, a lot of them said water infrastructure, because they have been warning that it's aging water infrastructure and that there will be rate hikes, I should say. But they've done these rate hikes, I believe, not that long ago. And were we talking, was this the water company, Ethan, we were talking about, or was it the electric company?
I believe it was Ameren.
It was Ameren.
Yeah,
okay, so
Ameren,
not the water one.
Yeah, but Ameren also would increase
They've
rates.
done rate hikes.
Yeah, and didn't their CEO just get some enormous...
50% salary increase.
From $5 million to $10 million a year, something like that.
I don't remember.
I mean, it's an insane amount of money. Now, that is another, just hack you off type moment, because that's a statewide issue. That everybody's paying those increased Ameren rates. But if I was a city resident right now, I would be up in arms saying, number one, the Rams money, her tactic here is she's thinking that the taxpayers are going to say, oh, yeah, use the Rams money. Don't come to me for the money. But if you are a resident and you see them literally piddling away all of this money, almost $300 million that the city could have made a true economic impact. I remember Dave Spence very early on. Dave was on the committee, and if you guys don't know Dave, very successful Legacy Pharmaceuticals, where he did bottling and sold that company, had a lot of money, was a Republican candidate for governor. He would have been a phenomenal governor. But Dave came up with a concept saying we should create like a business trust fund, put all the money into a trust, let it spin off its 6 to 8% annually, and with $300 million, it would be a big chunk of money that every year could go to entrepreneurs, new businesses, to attract people coming to downtown St. Louis and use it as an economic catalyst to do what? Create a tax base, create new jobs, create new people living in downtown. Have it be a perpetual fund that constantly was funding the generation of successful new companies and innovation and entrepreneurs, making St. Louis a hub of innovation.
And obviously
that won't happen. The money was going to be wasted on sewer pipes under the ground.
We do need to incentivize businesses to come back downtown. If you have a more lively downtown, people are walking around over the lunch hour trying to eat at some of the downtown restaurants, which there are few left, it seems. I mean, that will help. I think criminals will be less likely to want to come down, but that doesn't solve the issue. You have to, if you're driving people back to open their businesses here, you also need to invest more money in policing.
Yeah.
And businesses don't want to pour hundreds of thousands or millions of dollars into coming downtown only to have their business broken into, or for their employees to not feel safe because their cars are regularly broken into. So you can't really have one without the other. And the problem is that that's not the viewpoint that the city has. They think, as long as we get businesses and we give them tax incentives to come downtown, that will solve the problem. Well, you're missing the key component to keep them downtown. You might get them downtown, but they won't stay downtown when their employees don't feel safe. They're paying a stupid amount in taxes, including that 1% earnings tax.
Yeah, it's a chicken or the egg. I'm not saying one without the other. I mean, crime is a massive issue that's got to be dealt with. But I also think that without a tax base, you can't pay for good defense, for good police, right? Yeah. So you need to have both simultaneously. Yes. It's not one or the other. It's do it together. and unfortunately, the Democrats want to hire social workers, right? They think the police are the enemy in many cases.
But you have to fix the crime issue almost first, because how do you expect someone to want to move their business downtown when they don't feel like they're going to be protected?
Right.
And then it's not any fault of police. They are trying to catch murderers all the time. So they have bigger fish to fry than a car break-in. But a car break-in is enough for a business to say, why would I do that to my staff?
Well, and for a long time, the police's efforts were being delegated by a prosecutor who wouldn't even prosecute the crimes that they would have.
Yeah.
That's gotten a little bit better, I believe. I think we do have
I agree. Gabe Gore's been better.
Yes, that we are seeing more indictments.
Yes.
But the fact remains that you got to have a full legal system that's addressing crime and strategies that work and using technology and a lot of other things that, would make it a better living and work environment for downtown. But if you have no incentives, and just sometimes businesses only need like that 15-20% down payment on a really good loan. They have people who will finance, or banks that will finance the business. They just need help with that 15 to 20%. That's where this Rams fund could have really stepped in and say, hey, we'll be that fuel to get your business rolling. You'll have 100 employees to start, but you could grow to 1,000 employees. And new business growth is what usually stabilizes downtowns, because that's what brings in the employees, which also brings in the residents, which also brings in a bigger tax base. And with all of that, you can get better protection.
Right.
But right now, policing isn't a priority. They've got a water crisis on their hands, and all they want to do is take your money. And if you're a resident of downtown, I think the county or St. Charles County starts looking a lot more attractive to those people when they see much better living rates, no crime situations or lower crime situations, and just a better overall economic cost of living.
Yeah.
All right, let's check in on the short list. Here we go.
The Marc Cox Short List, presented by Rhino Shield.
As reports continue to come out from the Department of Education, we have seen that public schools are blatantly violating FERPA by secretly encouraging children to adopt so-called transgender identities behind their parents' back.
Yeah, right now there are 35 school districts in Illinois. That was a Illinois congresswoman saying that in my state alone, 35 school districts are being investigated for violating Trump's executive order. It's unbelievable they're still pushing this trans garbage.
Look, I have nothing personal against Thomas Massey, but he votes with the Democrats most of the time and has been a thorn in my side for a long time. So, politics isn't personal up here. We need team players.
That's right. That's Speaker Mike Johnson talking about Massey being beaten in Kentucky in his primary, and he will not be representing the state of Kentucky any longer and will no longer be a thorn in the side of President Trump.
I know that the mayor has no plan. He has come up with no plan at all about how the Bears would end up in the city of Chicago, so that's problematic. I'd love them to be in the city, but we're 3 years in now, and he still has no plan.
Krispy Kreme Pritzker there, your governor of Illinois, he now is attacking the Chicago mayor, Brandon Johnson. What he fails to tell you is that for 4 years, the state legislature and he himself have ignored the request of the Chicago Bears to come up with a plan to get them into a new stadium that can actually make them profitable. So the Bears, they're more than likely heading to Indiana. That's the word.
We all want to wish a hearty congratulations to our colleague, Joey Jones. So Joey Jones just re-enlisted in the Marine Corps Reserve during a ceremony at the Pentagon today. He will be incredible for recruitment, and what a patriot. Congrats, Joey.
Congratulations.
Love that.
Definite congrats go to Joey Jones, and just a remarkable young man. You see him on the news. He's just a down-to-earth, real guy. In fact, it'll be neat to talk later this hour with Griff Jenkins, who knows him well. Everybody at the Fox family, you could tell, was extremely proud. He's going back into the Marine Corps. I loved his quote during the ceremony when he said, "The last thing the Marines asked me to do was get well." Of course, he was a bomb expert and had what do you call it? A IUD that exploded. Is that what they call it? I don't know. IUD might be a birth control.
IED.
IED.
I'm like,
yes.
IUD. I'm like,
yeah,
that
I don't
does
mean to
sound
make
like a
light
birth
of it, but
control.
I was sitting there going, IUD, is that not right? It's IED.
I
So,
hope an IUD
yeah.
is not going to blow up.
But anyway, he said the last thing the Marine Corps asked him to do was to get well. And he said, and once I got through my recovery, they gave me my retirement. And he said, I always felt I had a debt to owe them still. And so he is re-enlisted in the United States Marine Corps and will be working to help motivate future young Marines to join the ranks. And what a great spokesman they'll have out there in the field, a guy who truly is a great American patriot. And congrats to Joey Jones for re-enlisting in the U.S. Marine Reserve. So very cool. He'll still be doing the weekend show, by the way, on Fox. So. All right, well, that's that. We've got Shannon Bream coming up, and we've got a lot of great legal questions for her when we come back on the Marc Cox Morning Show. Dan Buck sitting in on this Thursday morning. Kim and Ethan, we still got about 40 minutes. How time flies when we're having fun.
Traffic from the 97.1 FM Talk Traffic Center.
Good morning. Eastbound 70, just a little bit of volume right now. 141 through 270. 6440, most of it is moderate, and it's just east of Lindbergh through Big Bend. Westbound lines up at Clayton-Skaker, goes out through Hanley. And northbound 270, still some slow pockets between 44 and 64. Now, if you're headed in from Illinois, there's some volume westbound on the Poplar Street Bridge. Also on the Illinois side, eastbound 64 slows east of 255. And westbound, there's an accident reported approaching 159. So a little bit of a slow go through there. This report brought to you by Missouri Brush Control. I'm Sue Thomas with traffic on 97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis Conservative.
Missouri Brush Control is helping landowners reclaim their property, manage vegetation, and clear land for better views. Enjoy your land the way you've always dreamed of. Missouri Brush Control, making acreage great again. Visit MissouriBrushControl.com.
Attention, have you racked up $10,000 or more in credit card debt? Are you barely getting by making minimum payments? With credit card debt reaching all-time highs, National Debt Relief is notifying consumers about significant debt relief options currently being made available to help those with overwhelming credit card debt. These options may reduce a large portion of credit card debt for those who qualify. You don't need to declare bankruptcy or take out a consolidation loan, and you may only have to pay back a fraction of what you owe, even if you have bad credit. National Debt Relief has already reduced the credit card debt for more than 550,000 consumers, so don't wait. If you owe $10,000, $20,000, or even $100,000 in credit card debt, you can now take advantage of this financial debt relief as the cost of living continues to skyrocket. To check what debt reduction you may qualify for, call 800-894-7722. That's 800-894-7722. Again, 800-894-7722.
Rhino Shield is far superior to even the best traditional exterior house paint. Rhino Shield is 8 to 10 times thicker than paint and comes with a 25-year transferable warranty. Rhino Shield is the only ceramic coating company that has been chosen by Disney, This Old House, and 3 times on HGTV's Curb Appeal, where every episode is concentrated on unpainted brick, bonds and seals to stucco, wood, hardy, block, color lock, masonite, and more. No better product for those steel aluminum sided homes that have become, chalky and tired looking. We coat sloped and flat roofs to extend their lives too. After 15 years, we've got a great reputation and a superior product. As long as it's affordable, why wouldn't you do it? Before you make the costly mistake of painting with traditional paint, you'd be best served to call Rhino Shield today. We are the experts and our evaluations are free. 877-25-RHINO or 877-25rhino.com. Tell them, ladies.
Don't paint, don't Rhino, go Rhino Shield. Never paint your house again. Rhino Shield.
The time is 8:20. This time check is brought to you by Paramount Men's Medical Center. Coming up 8:35, we'll find out where in the world is Griff Jenkins.
The Marc Cox Morning Show is St. Louis conservative.
There's only one Shannon.
Shannon Bream, host of Fox News Sunday.
It's 8:21, and on the phone this morning, Shannon Bream. We want to get right to her. We have lots to talk about. Good morning, Shannon.
Good morning. Great to see you.
Oh, we got a little bit of a connection issue, but hey, just a lot going on at the Supreme Court. We don't know for sure. We never know exactly what they're going to come out with, but what do we expect potentially coming out? I know we've got the birthright citizenship. You've got the trans woman issue. What do you expect to see today?
Yeah, we wait to see, and we will what it is. Also, a couple of issues dealing with the president's executive power. Can he dismiss a Fed board governor? Can he fire people from federal agencies? So, a lot coming up. There are a couple of things that could impact the elections as well. You know, how long can you count mail-in ballots past Election Day proper? And also money. I mean, how parties can coordinate with candidates when it comes to, political donations. So a lot to still actually up in the air.
Yeah, well, and we also have the birthright citizenship issue. Do you think they're at a point yet where they can make a ruling on that?
It would feel early to me, but anything is possible. The fact is, at the arguments, it seemed there was a lot of skepticism across the bench about what the administration is asking them to do. This is the way we've interpreted birthright for the past 100+ years.
Well, Shannon, you're cutting out. You're cutting out just a little bit. We're catching almost every other word.
Yeah, we're having a little bit of a connection issue.
I will try back. Hold on.
All right. Yeah, give us a quick shout back.
Yep. And sometimes it's just, I know sometimes they're in hallways and they don't have good reception there, so
right.
She'll try to call us back. Yeah, it'll be interesting to see when the Supreme Court rules on these. I mean, these are huge cases that they've yet to rule on. So, and we never know when they'll rule on them.
And the birthright citizenship, I'll be curious to see if they'll allow it to be, if they do rule that it is not legal citizenship. Mm-hmm. Oh, she's back on. I think we got a good signal. We got a great signal now.
Sorry, guys.
So good.
That. There were some gremlins in the system this morning.
Yes,
we kicked them out.
Exactly. So you think it might be a little early, but there was some skepticism of what the administration was requesting, right? Of exactly what the ruling needed to be, or what they were asking of the court.
No. When President Trump came, the first time a sitting president's ever come to the arguments, and man, I was craning my neck and twisting in my seat to try to kind of watch his face during this whole thing. He tends to be a pretty demonstrative kind of guy, but he was really subdued and kind of, taking in the arguments. And I don't think he's going to be happy with the end result. We just make educated guesses, but based on the way the arguments went, I don't think it's going to be a winner of a case for the Trump administration. But what this court does behind closed doors, that first Friday after they hear the case, they take a vote. It's all secret. Then they start writing opinions, and votes can flip. So I feel like it would be early, but if it's kind of a slam dunk, like an 8-1 or a 9-0 or even a 7-2 decision, they may have written it quickly. We'll have to see.
We just saw that the former Cuban president, Raul Castro, was indicted. And I'm curious to get your take, Shannon. What are the odds that he ever sees his day in court here at, I guess it would be Miami, right?
Yeah, I would say, you remember Dumb and Dumber when Jim Carrey is like, you're saying there's a chance. Like, I think we've got the same odds probably for this one showing up in Florida. I think all of us feel like it is part of the negotiations we're having with Cuba about, hey, let us give you this influx of humanitarian funds to help with infrastructure and, things that they have constantly running out of, clean water and electricity. Let us help you, but it's going to cost you. And so I think it's part of kind of the carrot and stick negotiating we're having with them. I don't think he ever sees the inside of a Florida courtroom, but nothing's impossible.
Well, nobody thought Maduro would ever come and stand trial in the U.S. either, right? Don't know if they would go to such measures to bring him to justice. Do you?
I don't think so. But again, with this administration, I would not rule out anything. I would note that we're not as focused on Greenland right now. Like Cuba, it's your turn in the spotlight. And so that's where I think all of the tension is focused right now when it talks, when we're thinking about, a real change in government or who's running that country.
What do you think about this anti-weaponization fund that Trump has set up? There's talk about could J6ers have any of this money that's been set aside for this? You have 2 officers who are now suing it who were there on January 6th.
Right, exactly. We knew the lawsuits would come pretty quickly. The thing is, there seems to be, we know Democrats clearly are not for any of this, but we're hearing a number of Republican voices either hesitant or outright saying, gosh, I don't know about this. This does not seem like it passes the smell test. at a time when people are trying to pay for groceries and put gas in their car, and they see this, $1.8 billion fund being set aside for people that Democrats will characterize this as, listen, this is a bunch of J6ers. But again, a lot of people, if you look at the cases, will also say there were people who lost a lot of money and time, and some of them went to jail and were completely cleared in the end of anything that was nefarious. I mean, there are people who committed criminal acts. They went to jail. And I think most, people of good sound mind would say, okay, you go after a cop, you commit these crimes, you need to be in jail. I think this is about other broad things, but it may include some J6ers, and that's going to make it super controversial for people on both sides of the aisle.
Yeah. Got Memorial Day weekend, the Fox News Sunday. Who can we look forward to? You got plenty of topics to go after. You've got Iran, you got Cuba, you got so much going on.
Yeah, you're going to hear from both sides of the aisle. We've got Congressman Byron Donald, who is going to be, running for governor down in Florida as well. So he's got electoral things to think about. But he, when you think about the Save America Act and Iran and reconciliation and budgets, I mean, he's in the middle of all of that, along with Democrat Senator Chris Van Hollen. So you'll get both sides, both viewpoints, and we'll get to all the top topics.
Great. And the Iran issue, any experts coming on to talk about Iran?
I think that's going to end up probably with our panel, who is an illustrious panel this week. We occasionally do add a military. We always have sort of a retired general on standby. We have a fantastic roster of military folks within Fox, as you know, and as part of our contributors. So depending on what may go down this weekend, potentially with Iran, we like to have them on standby so we can take them to the maps and explain what happened. So, if things get spicy, as we like to say on Saturday, we may pull in one of our experts as well on Sunday.
Shannon, you're awesome. We appreciate you. You have a great Memorial Day weekend.
You too. Thanks so much.
All right. That's Fox News Sunday. Shannon Bream, always a great guest. Back with more of the Marc Cox Morning Show.
This is attorney Todd Nissenholtz of Kaufman Townsend. Many of our clients are victims of negligent drivers. They put their trust in us, and we help them recover physically and financially. Their words carry more weight than ours.
They guided me through every step of the legal process with clarity and expertise, ensuring that I always felt informed and supported.
Injured? Call Kaufman Townsley. It costs you nothing to call, but may cost you everything if you don't. Call 314-777-7777.
The Cards, the Pirates. Siteman Cancer Center game time 12:15. Play ball. Siteman Cancer Center, national leader in cancer. The home of the Cardinals. 104.1 FM KMOX.
How would you like a free estimate on a Generac home standby generator from Generator Supercenter of St. Louis, the nation's #1 Generac generator dealer? Give yourself peace of mind now by calling for a free estimate. 314-499-2020 or GeneratorSupercenterofStLouis.com.
Do you owe $10,000 or more to the IRS like Mark?
I've been doing home remodeling for 30 plus years, but the economy crashed. I wound up losing my home, losing my job, and on top of that, owing the IRS a ton of money. I owed the IRS $114,000. It really, truly was the worst part of my life.
Then Mark found tax relief advocates.
On news radio, I heard about TRA, and I thought, what's the worst that could happen? So I picked up the phone and I called them. When it was all said and done, TRA settled my $114,000 debt for $100, and I'm telling you, I was ecstatic. Could not believe it. Would recommend TRA to anyone.
If you owe 10 or even hundreds of thousands of dollars to the IRS, don't lose hope. Do what Mark did and call TRA for a consultation.
But TRA did. They gave me a second chance, and I'm forever grateful.
Visit TRA.com or call 800-491-9914. 800-491-9914. That's 800-491-9914.
With your money now. Oil prices have jumped by more than 2% after Reuters reported that Iran's supreme leader will not allow the country's enriched uranium to be shipped abroad, a position that will likely complicate peace talks with the U.S. West Texas Intermediate at roughly $100 per barrel, Brent at $107. U.S. energy storage developers installed 9.7 gigawatt hours of new capacity in the first quarter of 2026, marking a record high for the quarter. A Solar Energy Industries Association report said energy storage capacity grew by 32% in the quarter from a year ago, despite federal actions the industry says are slowing clean energy development. Advanced Micro Devices said it would invest more than $10 billion in Taiwan's AI sector to deepen strategic partnerships and boost its capacity to build and assemble advanced AI chips. Analysts and investors see AMD as a leading challenger to NVIDIA's dominance in the AI chip market. Futures are moderately lower as oil prices increase amid the Iran war. That's your money now.
I know that hiring can be challenging. You sort through tons of resumes and you get too many so-so applicants. You're just waiting for someone to match your role perfectly. Well, now, there's a place where you can meet them fast. ZipRecruiter.
Need to hire right away. Start your search for strong candidates. The right fit awaits. Build your team. Build it sooner. Meet your match on ZipRecruiter.
Just head to ZipRecruiter.com/free right now to try it for free. And you're on your way to meeting your match. 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. So try it now. Go to ZipRecruiter.com/free. Once again, that's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
Meet your match on ZipRecruiter. Try it free.
Traffic from the 97.1 FM Talk Traffic Center.
Well, it's not been a bad commute this morning. We look pretty good out there. If you're just headed out the door, we look fine in general. Northbound 55 is in good shape. We've got some volume. It's still moderate along northbound 270, north of 44, up through Ladue Road. 70 a little slow there at 141. 64 a little slow at the Inner Belt and westbound at Clayton Skinker. And there was some volume westbound. There was an accident, too, on westbound 5564 headed for the Poplar. It's before Route 3, so that accident causing a delay. And eastbound 64 slowing just past 255. That, of course, due to road work. I'm Sue Thomas with traffic on 97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis Conservative.
Sponsored by Gloria Lou with your home sold guaranteed realty 314-325-6888.
Need to sell your home and you want the most money? The name to remember is Gloria Lou. Yes, Gloria Lou with your home sold guaranteed realty at 314-325-6888 and start packing.
As the old saying goes, size matters.
At Morgan & Morgan, we have over 1,000 lawyers and nearly 6,000 people on staff.
But at the core, this is and always has been a family business.
Our family watching out for your family.
Call us or email us 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, even on a Saturday or a Sunday.
And if you ever have a problem, call our mom.
Morgan & Morgan.
For the people and your family. Injured? Dial Pound Law or visit forthepeople.com for an office near you.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack. Sure, you can post your job to some job board, but then all you can do is hope the right person comes along, which is why you should try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter doesn't depend on candidates finding you. It finds them for you. Its powerful technology identifies people with the right experience and actively invites them to apply to your job. You get qualified candidates fast. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you what you're looking for. The needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free. That's right, free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. That's ZipRecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter.com/radio.
ZipRecruiter. This is Tom Ackerman for Ophthalmology Associates. You know, the doctors, or just the best doctors to see for your best vision in St. Louis. 314-966-5000, the doctors. They've treated more than 250 doctors. That's more than any other practice. Dr. Greg Birdie, Dr. Ranjan Malhotra, Dr. Robert Bersati, Dr. Andy Royer. 314-966-5000 is their phone number. 314-966-5000. Dr. Birdie, Dr. Malhotra are cornea surgeons and experts in diagnosis and treatment of diseases of the eye, dry eye, allergy eye, cataracts, macular degeneration, glaucoma, LASIK surgery. The Doctors of Ophthalmology Associates, experts. Call for an appointment today, 314-966-5000, or visit them online,
youridoc.com, 12990 Manchester Road, quarter mile west of 270. 314-966-5000 or youridoc.com.
Data centers don't wait, and neither should your supply chain. From power and connectivity to racks and critical power, Graybar brings the products and the experience data centers need now. And with deep inventory and logistics expertise, we keep projects moving from first delivery to final install. With hundreds of locations and a nationwide delivery fleet, we help you bring facilities online, on time, and on budget. Yep, Graybar does that.
Bold takes, real talk, no apologies. 97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis Conservative.
In Kyiv, Ukraine, Griff Jenkins, Fox News. Along the southern border, Griff Jenkins, Fox News. At the White House, Griff Jenkins, Fox News. In St. Louis, Griff Jenkins, Fox News.
Tell me where in the world is
Griff Jenkins.
Watch your back.
Griff, good morning, sir. How are you?
Hey, Dan, what's going on?
Not
Happy
much.
Thursday.
Happy Thursday. Coming up on a holiday weekend. You got some fun plans, I hope?
You know, Dan, I am literally about to head to the airport because we're going to do Fox and Friends weekend as we did last year for the first time, and now we're going to do it again this weekend. We're going to do the show from the Indy 500.
Nice.
Our set is right there on turn one. And, you know, my co-host Rachel and Charlie aren't as big of race car fans. But for this guy that grew up in Memphis, I'm 55, man, I remember, you know, back in the 80s, the Indy 500 was like the Super Bowl, watching it with my dad and my brother. And, you know, getting out there. And last year, you know, we got to interview Penske and Al Unser and some of the greats. But
the legends.
It's exciting because this year, I don't know if you watched any of the car race, but Alex Palou won it for the first time last year. And we interviewed him. We were pulling for him, and he won it. And this year, he just qualified. He's on pole, so he's the first position. So we'll see if he can win back-to-back.
Wow, and that's a feat. Only the A.J. Foyts and Al Unsers of the world can do that. It's a tough race to win back-to-back.
Absolutely, absolutely. And the highlight, by the way, if I'm being selfish and honest here, is they put me in some souped-up Corvette and took me for a lap around the track, and it is unbelievable just seeing how massive that track is and how fast those cars go.
Yeah, you're pulling some G's coming around some of those. It'll throw you to the wall, doesn't it?
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Now, it's interesting, too, because the guy that gave him a run for his money last year, Pato O'Ward, and was expected to do so again this year, had a crash during practice this week. So he's in a backup car, which makes it even harder for him to win and more of an underdog. So we may have one of the best races ever this year. We'll see. Meanwhile, I'll have to be out there talking about everything else going on. And, of course, listen, for a guy that spent a lot of time in dangerous places like Iraq and war zones, you know, we have to remember, of course, the Memorial Day message is always, you know, this weekend is have your barbecue, go to the racetrack, have fun, but never forget those that gave all for us in the freedom we enjoy because of them.
I think it's so easy for the real reason why we celebrate these holidays. It's easy for that to be overlooked. You know, everyone just wants their day off of work. And, you know, we do enjoy that. But, yeah, to your point, Griff, we have to remember why we are taking this day off work.
You bet. And listen, I will be filling in, anchoring on Monday, Memorial Day, for Fox and Friends, and in the afternoon doing Will Kane's show because they were like, hey, you know, could you work on the Memorial Day? I'm like, you bet, because that day particularly stands out for me. You know, Kim, the original helicopter on day one of the invasion of Iraq, originally scheduled on, they pulled me off and put me on a different one. That helicopter went down, and 4 Marines lost their lives. They're among the first casualties of the Iraq War. So I always remember them and, of course, honor the service and sacrifice of all the countless other American heroes that have died for our freedom. I mean, look, our freedom, what we will enjoy this weekend is paid out of the blood of heroes that were willing to volunteer and make those sacrifices.
In one simple way, a lot of people listening can make a difference is just put your flag out. Let people know you're proud to be an American and you appreciate the sacrifices of all those folks. It'd be great to see a lot more American flags on houses this summer as we celebrate 250 years. And Griff, you also have a great war hero who is there at Fox. You have to be awful proud of Mr. Joey Jones and all of the great sacrifice he's already made, and then to re-enlist himself into the Marine Corps Reserves. That's pretty special.
You know, it is so special, and just like a devil dog, of course, he was busting to get that done. And, you know, we've all seen the social media of Secretary Hegseth re-enlisting Joey, and, man, couldn't be more proud of that guy. And, you know, how he will find a way to serve his country, I have no doubt that he will find many ways. And, you know, by the way, your suggestion of raising an American flag day is a great idea. I would offer this challenge, and that is if you want to honor those that have made a great sacrifice on Memorial Day, learn the story of one hero who died that you didn't know.
Wow.
You know, go out and learn it. You know, I brought one year, we broadcast and hosted live from from Arlington Cemetery on Memorial Day, and it was Ryan Manion of the Travis Manion Foundation had gave this advice, and I've shared it with everyone since, which is, hey, you know what? Just go online. You don't have to do it. If you know a family, they can tell you the story personally. If not, go online and learn the story of one hero. And I guarantee if you do that, you'll never forget them.
You know, and everybody has a family member, whether it be a grandpa or a father or somebody in their lineage who made a difference. I always say go to their graves on Memorial Weekend and just, you know, do some flowers, put a flag out. Remind the people in your life that, you know, that in a reminder to all of us, the sacrifice. My dad served in World War II and Korea. You know, it's one of those things you can do. It's simple. It doesn't take a lot of time, but just as a reminder to all of us and to us, the sacrifices that people who went before us gave.
Well, thank you for the service of your family, and I'm with you. My father was a Marine in Korea, and boy, that generation really kept the tradition and the honor going, and so it's our job now to pass it down to this younger generation, which is so distracted with social media and everything else going on. And you're right. You're spot on, Dan, and that is, listen, you can do all your vacation plans. Just take a small amount of time out of the weekend and remember the real meaning of Memorial Day.
Awesome. Well, you have fun. We'll be watching you on the track there, Turn 1, and Fox and Friends live from the Indy 500. You say the plane heads out today with the whole crew or what?
Yeah, I've got to go out there early to do some taping tomorrow morning, so I'm busted. They knew I'm ready to get out there. I just don't want the breaking news on cable news channels. A morning host has jumped into a race car on the track. We haven't yet identified who he is. You'll know who.
We'll know it's Griff. We'll break it to the people.
Exactly. Well, hey, you have a great weekend, my friend. We'll catch up with you next week. Thanks so much.
You too. Thanks so much. See you,
Awesome. Griff Jenkins from Fox News. What a good guy, too. Just so down to earth and one of those guys you want to have a beer with. Next time he comes to St. Louis, I told Mark, whenever Griff comes to St. Louis, I am going out with you to have a bourbon and a cigar with that guy.
Yeah, he's a nice
good
guy.
Super good guy. All right, we got one more segment. I'm going to focus in on a Republican lawmaker. In fact, Shannon Bream kind of hinted he's going to be on her show this weekend, but I think this guy is a huge up-and-comer in the Republican Party. You'll hear from him when we come back.
Traffic from the 97.1 FM Talk Traffic Center.
It hasn't been too bad out there this morning. Now, if you're just headed out, it's, of course, the best time to be there. But we did have an accident on the Illinois side. This is westbound 5564 before you get to Route 3, and there's a jam behind it. We look okay on the bridges once you can get there, at least on the Poplar. Now, eastbound 70, still a little bit of volume at 141. 64, a little bit slow at the inner belt with westbound slowing at Clayton Skinker, and some leftover volume. It's just moderate on northbound 270, but it is from Jordy Ferry up through Ladue Road. And other than that, we're really okay. This report brought to you by the Diamond Shop. The Diamond Shop, making St. Louis sparkle for over 100 years. I'm Sue Thomas with traffic. 97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis Conservative.
Hey, it's Annie. Grab your clubs and head to Tamarack Golf Course on Friday, May 22nd for the St. Clair County Republicans annual golf tournament. Shotgun start, 18 holes, cards, contest, lunch, and great prizes. Learn more at 971talk.com/events.
Well, waterproofing your basement is not all it's cracked up to be, because there are people out there that will take advantage of your lack of knowledge on what's going on in your basement. How do you know who to trust? Well, you may take personal references to heart, and I'm giving you one for my friend Matt Hayes. He's going to come out and inspect that basement. He's going to determine the repair needed. He's going to let the basement speak to him. That's how he works. He'll look at the problem, and he promises to match the solution with the issue. He's not there to upsell you on some entire basement waterproofing project. He's going to fix the crack, and then you're done, and you don't have to worry about it anymore. Whatever it happens to be, drain tiles, even if it's structural crack repair, they can take care of it when they're done. Boom. You get a lifetime warranty on the work. You can't beat that. Call him today. Tell him you heard Mark bragging about him. 314-271-9900 or online at HomeshieldFoundationRepairs.com.
Hello, 4th of July.
Back-to-back Jack! Kerry Robinson, a hero tonight!
The Cubs visit St. Louis May 29th through the 31st for a weekend of baseball's best rivalry at Busch Stadium. The history is real, the fans are loud, and the energy in the ballpark is unmatched. Day or night, every pitch matters when these two meet. Get ready, Cardinals fans. This is what summer baseball in St. Louis is all about. Don't miss a moment of it. Get your tickets at Cardinals.com.
The weekend starts at Busch Stadium. Grab your crew and kick it off at Friday Night Live. Every Friday night home game, Budweiser Terrace turns into the hottest happy hour in the Lou. With $5 beers, $5 hot dogs, $7 margaritas, live music, and more all game long. Meet up with friends, soak in the energy, and keep the night going with baseball under the lights. Good vibes, great deals, your new Friday tradition. Get tickets now at Cardinals.com.
Marc Cox here. Bring your home back to life with Zero Res. Get 3 rooms of carpet clean right now, starting at just $139, and whole home air duct cleaning starting at just $599. Visit ZeroResSTL.com and tell them 97.1 sent you.
If I could be you.
And you could be me?
For just 1 hour.
If you could find a way.
To get inside each other's mind.
Walk a mile in my shoes. Walk a mile in my shoes.
Walk a mile in my shoes.
We've all felt left out. And for some, that feeling lasts more than a moment. We can change that. Learn how at belongingbeginswithus.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council.
Walk a mile in my shoes.
Want to make the most of your tax refund? File with TurboTax on Intuit Credit Karma. They help you get your biggest refund, and then we help you do more with it. With a personalized plan designed to help you hit your money goals. Start filing today in the Credit Karma app.
The Marc Cox Morning Show is St. Louis conservative.
The fact that you have Democrat senators who want to stop the United States government and stop President Trump from doing what he can to help free Cuba from more than 60 years of totalitarianism and a dictatorship. But then the same Democrats will come here and lecture everybody in America about how they're the only ones that stand for freedom, that stand for democracy. Give me a break. They're lying. But this isn't new. They lie about this stuff all the time because we work in these halls. And when we try to just do simple common sense policy to actually open up America's economy for the American people, drive down costs, have health care that makes sense, you know who stops us? The same Democrats who go on the trail and talk about how they're the only one standing for the little guy. That war powers resolution that they're bringing is indicative of the fact that the Democrats will tolerate totalitarianism on their watch. And they will let it happen. They will watch people starve. They will watch people be oppressed. And they won't lift a finger, but they'll go to their cocktail party and talk about how they stand for freedom and liberty and democracy. Give me a break. I don't listen to them anymore. And that resolution is why.
Wow. That is Byron Donald. And folks, if you don't think that guy's got a political future in America, you aren't paying attention. I believe he is truly one of the Cinderella great Republicans we've got that and maybe not in 2028, But certainly in the years ahead, that guy's going to make a major impact on this country. I am telling you, he has evolved too. If you've noticed Byron Donald, he used to kind of have to be scripted. He was very almost nervous sometimes at a podium. That entire speech he just gave was off the cuff. That guy didn't have a speaking note. He kept eye contact with all the cameras at a House press conference and just lost it. He was frustrated, but he articulated himself so well on the hypocrisy and the double standards of the Democratic Party. And I think that guy, he's going to be the next governor after DeSantis in Florida. And depending on what happens to the presidential race, assuming we win and Vance gets 8 years, I'm calling it right now. Mark it on our calendar. Dan Buck said that Byron Donald was going to be the next president after J.D. Vance. And now that's the question I have to end the show with you. And man, this show has gone fast, hasn't it?
It has.
Holy cow. Give me your top 3 presidential candidates on both tickets who are going to be the final 3 standing in the primary runoffs for the Democrats, and who are your top 3 selections for the Republicans.
I really struggled with the Republicans because it's very obvious Vance will run. Trump will throw his support behind Vance naturally. The obvious other one would be Marco.
You say that, but I don't know. I think he's so unpredictable, but Vance is the obvious. But he's the obvious target.
I think
he's done nothing but been a great foot soldier.
Yeah.
And he also is the most like Trump, I believe, of the candidates.
Yeah, I think that's what's going to happen. Now, the obvious other choice would be Marco Rubio. And if you look at some of the polls, Rubio's been beating Vance. Now, the only thing I'm hesitating about is because I recall a statement Marco Rubio made months ago where he was asked if Vance is in the race, would you run against him? And he said no. Certainly you could just be saying that publicly, or you could have changed your mind.
It's your administration's position.
That's where I'm a little hesitant. So I really don't know, aside from Vance, who would run on the Republican side. As far as the Democratic side, Newsom and Harris are the obvious 2. The third one I was struggling with, whether it be Pete Buttigieg or J.B. Pritzker. I'm convinced that these 2 people will run, but not in 2028, and it's on both sides, AOC and Josh Hawley. I think they're gearing up. AOC's my age. I mean, she's in her mid 30s, so she's got plenty of time. Holly's
a Republican.
No, I said that on either side.
Yeah.
Holly, I believe, will run on the Republican side, but not in 2028. But I believe I don't want to say shifting his policy stance on things, but he's been having some interesting decisions and votes on things that makes me think he's trying to align more with a little bit, more like center right.
Yeah, I would agree. And he's more of the, I wouldn't call it rhino, but he's certainly he's not as big of a fiscal conservative as I think people would like him to be, but he definitely has presidential aspirations. Every time I see him on, he's very slick. He's very good speaker. Mm-hmm. He would run a great campaign. You know that.
Yep.
I do think he's an outsider in 28. I think his ego will make him consider 28, but I definitely know he's going in 32 if Vance does not do a good job or is not doing a good job.
Even if he's doing a good job, he'd still try to still try to do. What do you think? Who do you think will run then in 2028?
Don't laugh. Oh
gosh.
Because I'm right.
You're going to put Stephen Colbert.
Newsom is, his egos. He's putting his hat in the ring.
Yeah.
It could be as early as this summer. He could officially announce as early as June, July, because he wants a long runway. Kamala's going to be there. She's going to be a non-factor. She will get run out like she did in the other primary. Remember, she got a presidential nomination without a single vote, right? Don't forget that. She didn't earn anything the first time around, and her ignorance always shows up in any type of a debate or public forum. She's definitely not a candidate to think seriously. The guy who's having his last TV show tonight.
I knew you were about to say this. You think in 28?
Stephen Colbert.
No. Not in 28.
While the iron's hot, he doesn't have a platform after this year. If he's ever going to do it, it's got to be now, coming off of being fired, he says I was trumped, right? He's so angry, and you talk about an ego that's out of control.
You think
Stephen
he'd feel confident
Colbert,
to go up against a Newsom? He would be smoked.
No, he wouldn't. No,
Newsom sucks. His policies suck, but Newsom is a trained politician who knows how to spin stuff. I'm not sure that Stephen Colbert
a public speaker.
I know,
He's
but
a
could
comedian.
he keep up against the slick disgustingness of Newsom?
Yes, I do.
I will admit I'm wrong if this is what happens.
I'll
be surprised.
And another guy not to count out is another Stephen A. Smith.
No,
He plays
he's
in the
talked
middle,
about it.
and
I know.
he's playing to the middle a lot these days. He has certainly been pro-Trump on several issues. We'll all see. Everybody, Mark's back tomorrow. Be sure to fly your flag over the weekend, though, and wear your red, white, and blue. Enjoy the greatest nation ever.